All right, welcome back to the Here's the Deal channel. Brian Young and Dakota are reporting for duty. Thank you guys for coming back. Today we're going to be talking about Judge Michelle Levitt. Earlier today I called her Michelle Levine, but it's Michelle Levitt has freed Chile from his shackles and from his prison cell. I don't believe she did the right thing. I know she did the right thing. And I know for a fact that Zimmerman did the wrong thing, because no man should be thrown into a cage for doing what Chile did, which was nothing. He didn't leave a victim. He didn't harm anybody. He didn't threaten anybody. He hurt a cop's feelings. He hurt a judge's feelings. So we're doing this video because by popular demand, you guys wanted to do a call-in show. And let me see if I can get the invite link. Let me copy this invite link and paste it right there. So if you guys want to call in, let me know if you think, even if you think Michelle Levitt did the wrong thing, even if you think Chile should be in jail. I want to hear from the trolls. I don't censor anybody from my channel. I feel like I can learn from anybody. If somebody's got a different perspective than me, then I open myself to that perspective. I open myself to consider that perspective, you know, if it's within reason. Some perspectives aren't worthy to be considered, in my opinion. But if you're a troll, hey, come on in. The water's fine. Let us know what you have to say. There are people who hate Chile. There are people who believe that Chile should stay in prison. They believe that he should spend more days. He should have spent the entire 180 days. He should have got 365 days, and that Judge Zimmerman did the right thing. A lot of people were bemoaning on our Nevada judges in the sidebar in the chat, saying that, oh my gosh, this judge sucks. She did the wrong thing. Chile's a blight to society. I want to hear from you. I don't want to just hear from me. And the second thing that I want to talk about today is what do you think about all these brand new YouTubers, First Amendment YouTubers? Bring on the troll, says Stomper. By the way, if you guys send a super chat, I guarantee I'll read every single one of them. I'll definitely come around to reading it. And my next live stream is going to be a members only live stream. If you want to participate in the chat today, you got to at least be a member for, I think I put down 10 minutes or something like that. So I welcome all perspectives, whether you agree or disagree with Judge Levitt's decision. Let me know. What's up? Let's.
Hey,
how you doing?
Hey, good, Brian. Glad to come up. Yeah, it's just been one of them days for all members of Team DLZ, knowing that someone that's out there trying to exercise their rights as an American system in order to point out the deficiencies within the police department, and they're overextending their use of officer safety under the guise of officer safety. I could never understand how any judge could utilize their judicial powers and their black robe tyranny to turn a constitutionally protected activity into a crime.
Yeah, and that's what this boils down to. A lot of people are giving Zimmerman credit because they're saying, well, look, she could have charged Chile with contempt of court, but she didn't. See how nice she is? And it's like, when we get to the point where we're applauding tyrants for not executing more tyranny, we're in kind of a bad place, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure, Brian. I mean, there's just been so much work that's been done behind the scenes. There's only so much work that you can do when you have a judicial system that wants to put someone in jail and hold someone in shackles in the court. As soon as the judge said that Chile's case was appealed, immediately his cuffs should have been taken off in the courtroom. Immediately. And there should have been no outburst from any marshal in the courtroom claiming that he could be thrown in jail, basically, for having a fist bump with claiming he was still a prisoner. He's not a prisoner anymore.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Let's OVTO. Let's play that right now, because I missed that when I was doing the live. I looked away and I heard the cops say that's an arrestable offense. Let's go back to that. Let's watch it. Here's Chile. He was just innocent.
No.
Listen to the.
That is an arrestable offense. I'm sorry.
Now, who does anybody know who that was fist bumping Chile?
I do, but I'm not at liberty to say. I had full intentions of trying to get there to the court hearing today. Of course, there was a lot of skepticism from a lot of different attorneys out there. I'll call them YouTube attorneys. As far as I can tell, there's only one YouTube attorney that supported Chile.
Is that Southern Draw Law?
I'm not. Southern Draw Law. I'm not sure on him.
Okay.
The YouTube attorneys that I'm talking about is one called Merb. Then there was one called Darcy. They might have agreed that he shouldn't be in jail, but when it come time to give their legal opinions about appeals and how they thought things were going, rather than utilize the law, and they utilized their feelings and tried to impress their followers and to get them to tune into their channels to continue to sow the deceit and the fraud. And we're coming after you, trolls. I've been fighting behind the scenes for the last 3 months. I try to stay neutral. I will go into other people's channels that might be different than my beliefs, but I go there with the intent to, I should be able to go there. If they don't want me there, they don't want my comments, well, they can utilize their First Amendment as far as the YouTube channel is concerned and block my comments. I can respect that. But if I come in with a name, Let's OTVO, a lot of people think that that's OTVO. Well, OTVO stands for Overturning Terry versus Ohio. And the people that know that, they don't want any part. It's like kind of like a black man going to a Ku Klux Klan convention. They know who you are when you walk in the room with the name of Let's OTVO. You know, and it's sad. And when I come in last night to I'm not afraid. I'll mention it on your channel. The Stone Vet. There's a lot of contention with this Stone Vet. I came into his channel because he was experiencing a lot of heat from Generally Specific last night in their ongoing debate of DD 214s and alike. I simply stated in the chat, it's only funny till it's not funny. And at that point, he went to a 45-second rendition of throwing me under the bus, saying that if that's my emoji, that I should enjoy my grandkids and that I shouldn't suck Chili's dick. Well, there's no dick sucking here in my part. The only dick sucking is on the part of this Joshy boy over there on the F3 Fine, Fit, and Finish people, because his comment at last night isn't aging very well. So right there to you, Joshy buddy. Right there to you.
I'm not privy to anything going on with that drama, but what's up, Brick? How you doing? What you got going?
What's up, brother, man? You know, I got this thing waving. So this is definitely a day for justice. I'm so happy that our judge over there was seeing justice as the priority today. It's really quite amazing. You know, I'm really excited. Chile gets to go spend some time with his family. You know, he gets to go touch grass.
Yeah.
It's really quite amazing because this doesn't always work out this way. You know, we saw what happened when he went back in front of Zimmerman. She didn't even, you know, want to hear him at all, right? And so it's quite amazing that, you know, these troll channels, Merb, Stonevet, whoever else they want to call themselves, they look at the situation and they say, well, justice prevailed because this man was put in a cage. And we recognize that in itself could easily be an injustice if there's no crime. There is no victim. There is no crime. Why was this man put in a cage? It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely egregious. And that ain't my America.
Yeah, and I really do hope we get some people on the opposing team, because I want to hear the rationale. I want to hear the logical argument for putting somebody into jail for what Chile supposedly did. Hey, what's up, Cesario? Thanks for coming in.
How you doing? Thank you for having me. It's good to be on the show again. Love what you guys are doing. Don't always agree with you, but that's okay.
You don't always agree? Come on, man. Come on. We always need agreement. No, go ahead.
Okay.
Now, what do you think about this? Do you think Judge Michelle Levitt, do you think she made the right decision today?
Well, of course. He should have never been in jail in the first place. Only because the black robe tyrant got butthurt. That's why he went to jail. He didn't do anything wrong. The cop was never in any danger. That's just ridiculous.
BZ Watchdog, welcome.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What are your comments about today's events in the courtroom in Nevada?
Man, I've been calling it from day one. If you've been following me on every time I'm up on Michael Elon's channel, been on Delete Lawz and everywhere else. I felt that well,
playing from desktop VF.
The same way that you and I feel about little tyranny. That's what I like to call her, Tyranny Zimmerman. I'm from Vegas. I knew she was corrupt. I knew that he wasn't going to get a fair shake, and until it went to appeals. It's just like with this next case. I have a feeling they're going to drop the charges because now he's got more ammo with his appeal and the appeal in February that just happened. You know, the fact that there was more of a what do you want to call it? Established crime scene tape that he was outside of that we can prove. I really feel that this is going to set a lot of precedents for us auditors filming the cops and not being able to use the go-to obstruction charge on everybody.
Yeah, you know what I thought was interesting about the prosecution is that the original prosecutor for the original case, when Michael Mee was the defense attorney, didn't even want to put Chile in jail. And now we have this second prosecutor who was almost sound like he was making things up. Where did the grenades thing come from? To the second prosecutor who wants to extend Chile's jail time where the first prosecutor didn't even want him in there in the first place. And the fact that he had such a weak argument and he was really grasping for straws. I was really glad to see that Christopher Oram came prepared. He articulated what he should have. I think he was a little long-winded, but luckily, and I hate that it boils down to luck, but in some of these cases it does. But luckily he got the ear of the judge and she made the right decision, in my opinion. If anybody wants to jump in on that.
I agree with that.
If anybody else, if there are any detractors on I know there's a lot of you out there that hate Chile. You want to see him in jail for the next 10 years. I want you guys to come on, and I really want you to explain your position on why you think this guy should be in jail this long, because we are talking about this goes way beyond Chile. We're talking about American freedoms. This isn't North Korea. This isn't communist China. We're not in Putin's Russia. This is America. And you're supposed to have the right to say whatever you want to say, as long as you're not threatening to harm somebody, stealing their property or damaging it and refusing to pay for it. Let me kick it back. Let me kick it back to you. Let's OTVO.
Well, I think it's strange that when we were trying to make comments on the Nevada court website, I was making a comment simply, we don't stop, and I was timed out. And so I know, I know a few of us here.
Wait, though, were you timed out because they had it on slow mode? Because slow mode was on.
No,
they had
real time.
First comment. We don't stop.
Okay.
I've got the screenshots. I've got the receipts. I've got the receipts of, as people would say, the F word in a chat. No, some look at that as not free speech in a chat, and you could be timed out for something like that. However, simply saying we don't stop, to have somebody in the Nevada court time you out for saying we don't stop.
Now let me ask you guys: is the our Nevada judges, is that real? Are they really representative of the Nevada judges, or is it just some independent guy who started a YouTube channel and he's got a camera in the courtroom?
Well, it is like a judge's thing that they film. They're supposed to be impartial, but the one thing I did notice, like Let's said, I went in and said free Chile. I got timed out for like 5 minutes, and I was trying to figure out why. and I ultimately got timed out 3 times. And then they started putting the slow motion or the slow-mo 45-second chat thing on. And then I think it eventually went to longer than that, because I put a comment 30 seconds later. I still had another 40 seconds before I could comment again. And for simply saying free Chile, but I kept watching all the trolls sit there and say, let him rot in jail. Hate him. He's not getting out. But yet, free Chile, and like Let's said, we don't stop, and we got timed out. Where's the free speech?
Yeah, it seems to be pervasive on channels like that. What's up, Papa Luigi?
How's it going, buddy? I think you've probably seen me on Paul's channel before. I don't know, maybe you haven't. But I'm just here to say I don't think this was a win, despite the fact that I don't think Chile should be in the jail for doing what he did. I don't agree with that. But at the same time, none of this is a win until all of us can understand that we're not living. I mean, forget about America or any other country, the world in general. Does everybody forget what just happened for the last 4 years? I mean, the people that run this world told everybody to put a muzzle on, close your business, lose your job, lock yourself in your house, and everybody did it. So we got a much deeper problem than what's happening here. And then the fact that Chile just ran through the system the way he did. Look, I got nothing against Chile. I got nothing against anybody. But we have to understand that this is not, America's not a country. It's a freaking corporation. And you're being treated like corporate chattel. And we're accepting that we're corporate chattel. We're going in there and we're following all their statute policies and codes. We're fighting on their level. We're doing what they're asking us to do, that we're going into their arena. And we're not standing as men the way we're supposed to. We're hiring the same people. What's an attorney? An attorney is a turncoat. If you look at the definition, they're the turncoat. They're there to turn you in. Yeah, he might got him out of jail, but it's not a win. And until we start realizing that there is a dual jurisdiction here and we got to get out of the corporate jurisdiction, we may as well be living in Walmart, in the walls of Walmart. And Walmart says, oh, well, you didn't stock the shelves right. You go to the cage for a week or a month or 180 days. That's what's going on. And until we realize this, nothing's changing. Nothing. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, I don't think anybody disagrees with that, Papa Luigi. I mean, we can go beyond the scope of this live stream and talk about what you're talking about, because you're right. The foundation, the touchstone from why we have to deal with this. I mean, you can't call it freedom if it costs you $55,000 to get out of prison after 4.5 months. That's not a win.
Amen.
That's not freedom. If you have to cross your fingers and hope this judge is not on her period and is having a good hair day and all the stars align and maybe then I could get my freedom. That's not freedom. That's not a win. All I'm saying is, did Levitt make the right decision? Yes, she did, but it's all diluted in the minutia of exactly what you're talking about. Let me go back to what you said. This is a country and it's a corporation. Title 28, Section 3002, 15A says, and this is their own federal code. The United States means federal corporation. So if it is a federal corporation, that means you are controlled and ruled by federal corporate interests, not a public, not a puppet president. What's that?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but they're not controlling us. We're giving ourselves up to them.
Right.
We're not learning the truth.
Yeah,
we are choosing to be slaves.
Right. Well, of course, that's implied.
Some of the idiots are choosing to be slaves. I don't choose to be a slave.
But for example, Paul Unslaved does not choose to be a slave, but they took him to jail anyway. That's what I mean by control.
Exactly.
And that's what good men do.
And if it only continues to happen in ones and twos, then they will and can pick us off. But if 20, 30, 40% of us adopt the mentality of what Papa Luigi and Paul Unslaved and so many people know about the reality of our world and who actually controls the corporate fiction, only then can we get out of this rut.
So Brian, it's like that old saying about, I don't know, I'm just a dumb idiot. I don't know shit. But you know the saying about, a patriot is scorned and all that. You know it better than me. You know all these sayings. until he's, but the patriot has to stand for himself first.
Mm-hmm.
Until the patriot stands on his own and is willing to go to the box, who's willing to go to jail, to stand on something. The founding fathers apparently did that. They were criminals of their day. They were going against the British. Now, whether that's all true or not, I don't know. But at least the rebels were willing to stand individually. And if you can't stand on your own, you can't stand with a group. A group's just going to bring everybody else down. One by one, individually, we have responsibility. Right? I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not. I still have a driver's license. I hate the fact that I have a driver's license, but nothing else. I don't follow pretty much nothing else.
Well, let's just touch on that for a second. What's your thought process behind keeping that driver's license?
I don't think that's part of the process. What more fundamental right is there on this earth than being able to take my property, whatever it is? If it's a piece of property that has rubber tires on it, what difference does it make that I want to take it from one point of the country to the other point of the country? Why do I have to pay somebody to move my property? This is slavery, right? I have land. I paid property tax right now because if I don't, they're going to take my land.
Right.
But I put it up for sale specifically for that reason, because I want to get out of this system completely. The banking system. How many of you are keeping money in the banks? Every dollar you put into the bank, the minute I put $1 in the bank, they create 9 more out of thin air, just numbers on a page. That dollar I just put in is worth automatically less now, just for the fact that I put it there.
Yeah, and we got to realize, because all right, the reason I have this channel is because we got to come up with answers, and we got to implement these answers, and we all have to recognize that in implementing these answers to these problems and these questions, it comes with a pack of dangers, because
Yes.
we don't just have psychopaths who want to rule us. We have sheep who want to be ruled, and they're more dangerous than the psychopaths, in my opinion. Real quick, let me just segue and go back to what Papa Luigi said. What the quote he was referencing was, I think it's from Mark Twain. It says, "In the beginning of a change, the patriot is a scarce man and brave and hated and scorned. When his cause succeeds, the timid join him. For then it costs nothing to be a patriot." So what Papa Luigi is saying is, hey, if you want to be free, it will cost you. It may cost you your freedom, and it may cost you your life. A lot of people like for example, what was the kid's name in Chase Allen? Remember Chase Allen? He was standing on his rights. He didn't have a tag on the back of his car. He didn't have a license, and they executed him right there in the driver's seat of his vehicle. This 20-something-year-old young kid had his whole life ahead of him. Now he's gone. Why is he gone? Because he decided to stand for his freedoms. And that's what happens when a free man encounters a scared, cowardly, psychopathic, state-owned puppet.
Freedom is scary.
So
And that may happen. But if that's going to stop us from actually standing individually on our own rights, then I don't know, where are we going to go from there? Then we're just accepting it all. And each one of us is part of it. That's why Paul gets so animated. He gets so upset, because he's there willing to stand on the truth, rights, freedoms, private property, and willing to go to a box or death if it takes that to stand on that, right? So I have total respect for that, because I haven't reached that, but I'm working on it every moment, right? I'm doing it as in every way of in every part of my life. I'm trying to achieve that pinnacle of true standing on freedom and rights, and nobody's doing it, and not, especially the truth movement. They're not doing it.
Until we stop blaming the victims, we're going to find ourselves continuing this saga. If a person is allowed to and been given a constitutional right to film police while they're doing their duties, we're monitoring government. Call us public investigators. Who else is checking on them? If we're allowed to do it, and they're going to turn it into a crime, right? That's about as corrupt as it gets. And it's just as long as we have a two-party system, you're going to have one system that wants one thing done one way, another system wants the other thing done another way. But believe it or not, they're done the same way. It's really a uniparty.
If we have three parties, it's going to be better.
No,
No, if we have 5, it's going to be better.
no, not going to be any
So
better.
when do we stop voting for these
When we
freaking
have-
psychopaths? When do we stop voting?
When we all realize that we have inalienable rights. Some want to roll it back to the 4th Amendment. Some want to roll it back to the 10th Amendment. Some will say, oh, we're all sovereign citizens. But that's not the point. The point is that we need to stop the police from putting their hands on us unless the crime that we've committed warrants their hands.
The police
So
are a state.
that's where I'd like to chime in on that, because here's the thing. Chile's free today. The thing that he's been battling, Terry versus Ohio, right? That's what that is. These officers have the backing of the courts. There's three parts to the system right now. There's the judicial, the executive, and then you got the legislative. All the legislative does is write the laws, the statutes to make it possible. And then you've got the state's policies that go down this legislature, right? Those Terry versus Ohio policies that you see in place where the police are allowed to touch you, period, done. That right there comes from Terry versus Ohio. Number one, first and foremost, wherever we go from here, Terry versus Ohio is first. That is first,
So
because if we do not overturn Terry versus Ohio, then these officers will continue to be able to put their hands on you, regardless of what you do in your life.
Okay, here's why I disagree with that, Brick. Here's why I disagree with that, because in order to recognize a Supreme Court case, whether it's Terry v. Ohio, Pennsylvania versus Mims, even something that appears to work in our favor, like Houston v. Hill, what Papa Luigi is saying is that we need to stop believing the system, period.
Exactly.
The problem is our view toward what's called authority, and there is no such thing as authority. Us continuing to believe that somebody has authority, and we need you to overturn that law that you fashioned against us that's not what a free man says.
So
a free man says, I don't even what are you in my life? I don't recognize
I agree with
you at
that.
all.
So I'm assuming you believe in natural law, right? Natural law is basically maritime law borrowed over from the sea to the land of law of the land, right?
Law is written on the hearts of men. We all know what the law is. We all know what's right and wrong. We can choose to do wrong or we can choose to do right. None of these political parasites are going to save us from any of that. As far as Terry versus Ohio,
I'm not asking a political parasite to save me. I already have a savior, bro.
Hold on. Wait. Hey, Luigi. Hey, we're all friends here, man. I don't think anybody.
I'm cool,
okay,
bro.
I just want to bring it down just a little bit. I appreciate your passion and all that. I'm kind of on the fence because I've been doing a lot of reading, especially in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm not so convinced that we have. It's not so much that we have rights. And here's what I'm saying. If we say that we have rights, then we're going to have people who believe just as much that they have the right to rule you as you believe you have the right not to be ruled. I think it's more like nobody's got a right to do certain things to you. I think it's in the negative, because if we say that we have these things, first of all, we have to prove that we have them. Second of all, we have to prove where they came from. And then next of all, we have to prove that they apply to everybody, when clearly the way we're living this out, judges believe they have more rights than law enforcement. Presidents believe they have an executive power that the judicial power doesn't have. So it's like everybody believes they have all these rights, but then they pervert it. Well, what if we remove the entire rights carpet and said, there are no rights, but I do know this. Just from the golden rule, if you want to call it the golden rule, you don't have a right to infringe on my life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Exactly.
And if you do have that right, then I got just as much right to do that to you. Is that the game you want to play? And if we could all understand that, maybe we could come to an agreement and then actually fashion some solutions that make society better.
Right. So it is based on a societal norm, a morality, a principle, right? And so what the Declaration of Independence did was it sat down and laid out some foundation that there are certain unalienable rights, and those unalienable rights are based upon natural law. That's what the Declaration of Independence says.
Not working that way.
Yeah, but the Declaration of Independence is perverted and the Constitution is perverted. And if you doubt me, I'll just point to something just rock solid in history. Not even 8 years after the ink was probably still wet on the Constitution when they wrote the Alien and Sedition Acts. Oh, you can't say that. The vice president can't say that, but the president can say that. And if you say something against the president, you can say whatever you want to against the vice president.
I don't agree with the Sedition Acts, but that is not part of the Declaration of Independence.
No. I'm saying the guys who penned that are the guys who agreed with the Alien and Sedition Acts.
Right.
When they penned Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, they violated the very rights they said the rest of us had.
I agree.
Even with its own documentation, it's become the Constitution because it's just a big con game.
Yeah, and since when in the Constitution does it say that 9 men and women or whatever, however many is in the Supreme Court can make law? Isn't it supposed to be
the sedition papers are not part of the Constitution? They're not part of the Declaration of Independence. They're not legal documents.
Yeah, that wasn't my point. And let's try not to interrupt each other. Luigi was talking, and then it goes to you, Brick.
Yeah, so like I mean, the whole thing is perverted from the top to the bottom, right? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, right? People think they're free in America, but they're really not. I mean, the only thing that maybe remains free in America, I'm not in America, I'm in Canada, but the point that America, there's still a culture, although diluted, there's still the culture of self-defense, right? Which is rare around the world. I think that's the only thing that America has left, is that culture is still ingrained of the ability to defend oneself. Most places in the world do not have that right. And forget about the right, because nobody gives you the right, like you were saying, Brian, but the people believe it. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it needs to be expanded into the greater understanding that we are ruled by statute, policy, and code. We accept the statute, policy, and code. We don't follow the law anymore. It's just statute, policy, and code.
Okay,
wait. If you're from Canada, how does this apply to you? I don't want to be mean, but
no, go ahead, bro.
I'm just saying.
Go ahead, BZ.
Our laws and our Constitution might be similar in base, but they're not. How are you an expert to talk about our?
I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm just a dumb wop who knows what's right and what's wrong.
I'm just saying.
Right? I believe in the truth. I believe in what's right. I believe in rights. I believe in freedoms. I believe in private property, and my ability to be free as long as I hurt no man.
And I agree with that.
And that's it.
What I'm saying is we're having an argument based on the Constitution, and you're in a different country.
The Constitution has enslaved you as much as my country's Constitution has enslaved
Bro, I'm not
me.
enslaved by this country. I can tell you that right now.
Okay.
Well, if we own hey, wait. Sorry. Wait a second. First of all, about the Canada, United States thing, these are all constructs of the mind. He's a human being. I'm a human being. I don't care about geographic boundaries that are secured by psychopathic liars with guns who say if you come over here, you're an illegal. I like
no, and I get that, Brian. I'm just saying our laws are written different than their laws up there. We have different.
Yeah,
it may be structured the same, but what I'm saying is our laws are and things have been passed differently here than up there. The culture is different than the mindsets, the rights, the way the cops act here versus there. They don't all act like that up there, you know. That's all I'm saying.
No doubt.
You're comparing apples to oranges.
Well, no doubt, but I also believe that the Canadian Constitution is just as much fair game to be criticized by an American or a Mexican as the Constitution of the United States is to be criticized by.
I don't
Canadians.
know anything about the Canada Constitution, so I'm not going to criticize it or scrutinize it.
Yeah.
So
well, and
it's
on
not much different.
And just
I mean, I know it's based on the same principles.
Well, let me just make another case. You got to admit, Brick, to one level or another, to one degree or another, we are all slaves of the system. Every one of us. There's none of us.
I chose my master wisely. I chose my master. My master is not of this world.
Do you use dollars?
Bingo.
That's not my master.
Do you use them?
That doesn't matter. I use them.
Yes, then you're
so
then
now
you're
all of a sudden I'm a slave to
yes,
it.
yes, because this represents
Really?
the
So I'm a
yeah.
slave to the orange that I pick off the tree.
Let me just tell you. Let me just tell you. We got to be honest, man. We got to be honest. This is a note of debt. There is no value in this, and the people who issue the amount and the M2 money supply and the value own your time and labor. You've worked for this, and they've determined the price of your time and labor, and they can take it away anytime they want through the hidden tax called inflation. That makes you a slave.
They
and me a
can.
slave.
What if I have no dollars?
But you do.
No, I don't. I'm a broke
You got
joke.
no dollars in the bank?
I got
How-
0, bro.
How do you pay for your phone bill?
I got people who help me out.
You come on, be honest with me. You don't ever use dollars for utilities, for water.
I do not.
You don't.
I'm living
So
rent free, bro.
You just said that you did though.
I
Are you
said
being-
I'm not a
are you-
slave to it. I said I'm not a slave to it.
Rick, if you own them, if you have them in your possession, if you have $1 in your
I
possession,
said just because I have it doesn't mean I'm a slave.
you use it though.
He's stuck with
Bro,
cognitive
I have
dissonance.
shoes.
Believes
I'm a
he's
slave
free.
for my
right,
shoes
all right.
now.
All right. Well, truth fears no scrutiny, and I just got to say, Brick, unless we come to the knowledge of the truth, there's no way. There's no way
I
we can eradicate
I want
the
to
lie.
understand this because I wear clothes, and so because I have this possession, all of a sudden now I'm a slave to my clothes. It makes no sense to me. Just because I use something doesn't mean that I'm a slave to it. I
don't
chose
work-
my master wisely.
Yeah,
He
you're
does not live here.
Okay. Well, I just think I don't
That's
think you're
like
being
an
honest.
excuse. That's an excuse as far as
It wasn't
I'm
an
concerned.
excuse
Like,
when
you
I
know,
chose
Jesus-
my master.
I'm
I don't slave
assuming
for
you-
you. I don't slave for any man. Right?
I'm
But
assuming
I
you
do
mean
choose
Jesus,
to participate in the system.
Here's-
I choose
here's-
to participate.
Well, no, you can't unless you live even if you lived in I hear people all the time saying that they're off grid. There is nobody that I
Nobody's
know of on planet Earth that is off grid. I don't
Okay,
even,
if that's the case,
I don't
then you
even see how
have to
it's
live in
possible.
society. So then you're a slave to society, regardless of what you choose to
yes,
do.
yes.
So then how can you possibly be outside of the system? You'll never be outside of it. So stop playing the game like you can possibly be outside of it.
But Brick, what is the society built on today? It's built on dishonest.
Well, it depends on what country you're in and
It's
what
built-
state you're in.
No, here's how bad the problem is though. It's built on dishonest fiat currency. And if somebody tells me, well,
Well, if that's the case, this is a natural law base.
Brick, hold on. Even if somebody says, I don't trade in dollars, I work for myself and I get paid in gold and silver. Even if you get paid in gold and silver today, you're being controlled by this because gold and silver is pegged to the dollar and they have manipulated the silver and gold supply. Even if you work for palladium, even if you work for mined gold, it's got a market value that's pegged to this. Until we get off of this, we can't truly be free. This is what this is all about. And that's why they're investing so much time and trillions of dollars into the CBDC, central bank digital currency,
I have a
because they want a
question.
100%
Then.
surveillance coin. Go ahead.
So
It's not
if
the
you
first
say
time.
that a US dollar isn't the answer, or a gold coin isn't the answer, what's the answer? How do we make trade?
An honest money system, making an honest money system that is completely detached
So it's still got to be a
from the
system.
world's reserve currency, which it's happening because Saudi Arabia just went away from it.
Well, everybody's going to complain that that system isn't fair. No matter what you do, somebody's going to complain that a system that's put into place is not fair. You see, the chieftain, he always gets his blood rubies, and Papa always gets his respect. Everybody complains about the system and doesn't want to participate in the system, but at the end of the day, the system will be here. It's not going to go away. And the system, right? If you want to get down to it, the ruler of this system of things, you know who he is. He's the liar from the beginning, right? So if you don't want to participate, it's too bad. Until the Lord and Savior comes back, here we are. I'm sorry. It's the truth.
Didn't the Lord and Savior say, greater things than I you shall do? Where's your part? Didn't he say that? Didn't your Lord and Savior say that?
So am I supposed to come up here
What are you
preaching?
doing?
Or am I supposed to
you're
come up here
supposed to
saying, let's
stand-
overturn Terry versus
supposed
Ohio
to
together?
stand as a man.
Together we can
You're
make it
supposed to
happen. Or
stand.
we can just sit on our bums and complain about how the dollar is nothing. I mean, it's up to you. I mean,
Well-
ultimately, I love Brian. Brian is a preacher of truth. He definitely preaches truth. He is accurate. He knows the truth. And so that's why I was so happy to come up here. And I love it. I love it, bro. You're actually getting out the very crux of the matter is that Satan is the ruler of this system of things. All of these systems, all of these nations that exist, yes, he is in control of it. And while we're here,
Well,
we can either
just real quick correction.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've never said that. I've never said Satan is the ruler. I don't.
I'm saying you're getting to the crux of the matter, bro.
Okay, I'm just saying I would have to believe that, and I just see. I mean, which Satan? The Catholic Satan, the Baptist Satan?
No, the liar.
I know,
liar
but
from
like
the beginning.
It's like there's hundreds, thousands of denominations.
I'm not talking about the denominations, whether it's Muslim, Christian. We know who he is. He's the liar.
Hey,
he was the liar from the beginning, bro.
Brick, are we cool?
Oh yeah, bro.
Okay,
I love you, bro. You're like a brother out here, bro.
Okay, I want peace, and I really think we can all come up with an answer, but it really is going to take all of us. Tim is on board. Tim, what you got?
Yeah, man, I really don't think it's going to take all of us. Like your whole point with the gold or silver or palladium, it's like, why do you have to go to what the market value is? How about this? Who gives a fuck what the market value is? For example, the value of your house. Why do you have to price it in USD? Who gives a fuck? Price is a myth anyway. You can only sell it once, right? You only need one person to buy, one man to buy, right? So if he's going to give you his time, energy, and attention and bartering and some gold, and there's an arrangement because he's part of your tribe, what the fuck does it matter, the market valuation? It doesn't matter. Hey, a big man down there, learn the law. What are you talking about? Oh, this is just an advertisement? I thought you're doing that for me. I don't care about the market value. It doesn't take all of us. It doesn't. That's the problem. You guys keep looking outwards to the globalized system of 8 billion slaves. Who gives a fuck? Let everybody choose what they want. And then the only answer, in my opinion, is for each man that wants to be a man and be free to do so themselves and create them from within first, and then with myself first, and then with my circle, and then the outward radius circle continues.
I don't think anybody was anybody here arguing against that?
No, he's very accurate.
No, but the solution to all problems in these truth, quote unquote, truth communities always seems to be some folk overturn some bullshit legislative policy. Let's 1A. Let's follow the slave masters around and like criticize them, and like, when does it become, hey, I'm gonna be a fucking man and be free and know the law and not enter into contracts constantly with everybody around me, creating infinite liability? Why do you guys have LLCs, limited liability corporations? Why don't you accept the liability? Why not? Why do you guys go and get loans from the bank? Why do you not deal with your tribe?
Wait a second. Like, you're making broad brush statements. How do you know anybody in this room has an LLC or gets a loan from the bank?
I'm presuming, I could be wrong, but I'm presuming all of you pay slave tax, income tax. I don't. I presume all of you have LLCs. I don't. I presume all of you do all of your business in the public. I don't. And there's a way to operate and move in the private and be right and be free. And
okay, you sound,
are you a soft sit?
You sound.
What does that mean, sir?
Wait a second.
What does that mean? What is that?
I don't like that term, because sovereign citizens are people who operate out of the bounds of their own law, like cops and judges.
It's a misnomer.
Right.
Yeah, and not only that, I want to stay clear with the ad hominems. And Tim, I want to learn from you. So, like tell us how you operate your life.
Just in the private, Brian. There's multiple jurisdictions. It's very simple.
How do you just like rubber meets the road? What you don't have to tell us your exact job, but like, what do you do, and how do your clients compensate you?
Well, I don't have a job. That's a dirty word, right? Like a mafia does. A job,
occupation.
Right? I have property, right? And then I do private agreements with other man or woman, those of mankind. Okay. And we do private agreements, and so there is no is there work traded? Like, do you do work for people and then they compensate you, like with chickens or gold or whatever? Whatever it is, it's simply my property. So it could be in the form of my time. It could be in the form of intellectual property. It could be in the form of an actual physical thing. Yeah, but I'm not talking. I'm not talking about what could be. Can you just let us, like, you don't have to give us all the information. I do. I have a software, and folks license the software. And it's a very simple terms of service, and it's just private. And so there is no like, if you think about what is the most contracts that businesses do between each other or with the user is like, ultimately there's a bunch of terms, and at the end it's like, oh, and also it's under the laws of the state of Delaware or something, right? No, I don't do that. I don't involve them.
You're
right?
talking about
I wouldn't even go to the state of Delaware and agree to 500 terms and then become a little child corporation of them. It's very simple. At the end of it goes, if there's a disagreement, there's a private third party arbitrator that we both agree to, and that's it. And they have the final say. So it's just like a court. It's just like a court, and we agree to a magistrate. It's very simple, actually. The law is expressed, not implied.
Just a quick question for you. You said about the property. I'm trying to collect my thoughts around this. You said you have property, right?
Yes.
Do you own that property?
What do you mean by own?
I mean, I'm asking if you own it. I mean, if you own it, don't you have to pay taxes to the IRS?
You're asking me a question. I mean, look, man.
You have to pay somebody. You're a slave to somebody.
Who? Why? Why do you believe that, sir? I don't believe that. What? Since when did I pay a tax for my body? Isn't your body your property?
Tim, let me just say something. Let's just have. I don't know why you're getting. I don't know why you're.
I'm fired up, Brian.
I know, but I don't know why you're getting amped. Can you just answer the question calmly? Is it 10?
Because I'm dumbfounded. Like I'm over the edge. I can't. I'm just dumbfounded sometimes.
So you can't have patience.
Because the way. Okay, look, Brian. The way he said, well, "Don't you got to pay somebody?" Why aren't you having the same reaction to him? Like his like what he said is insane to me.
But he's saying it calmly. I mean,
it doesn't matter. Why does it have to be calm?
Just grace, brother. Grace, brother. Grace.
Well,
rules of decorum, sir. Rules of decorum.
I don't follow your inauthentic beta corporate rules of decorum.
Okay, there's another ad hominem, man. It's like we don't have to descend to sov sit, decorum, beta male. We don't have to descend to that, man.
I love the passion. I love the passion.
I do too.
Okay, so he said, oh, don't you got to pay somebody? And like, that makes me like, something snaps in my brain where I'm like, sir, you're so like slave. You're like, I'm saying, or I'll say it nicely. You are so slaved out. It's like, it snaps my mind. To even think that's like, first of all, do you think that's right? Do you think that's right?
You're avoiding a question. Why are you avoiding a question? Just be honest.
I'm not avoiding a question.
Just be honest.
He's answered it. He said no. He doesn't pay slave tax.
I don't pay income tax.
So
I have admitted on public airways now 31 times I don't pay income tax. I don't believe I owe income tax.
Okay.
If I do, IRS, and there's a bill and it's owed to you in true and due, you know how to contact me, and I will handle that honorably.
Okay. Tim, I got it.
So the computer you bought, you didn't pay sales tax on that either?
I said income tax, sir. Sales tax, I guess I don't get too into the nitty gritty because sales tax to me is going way too down the line, but I guess I could. But I don't go. Yourself, man. I've got true enough. Yeah, I do pay sales tax sometimes, sir. But your sales tax and income tax is like this.
Two different things.
Most of you pay 40%, 30%, 40%, 50% of everything you make.
Tax is still money that goes to the government. Tax is still money that goes to the government.
Dude, you're minimizing and maximizing. Most of you pay 30 to 50% of everything you earn to somebody else. Sales tax is less than 1%.
You're becoming unhinged like a cop.
I'm becoming correct. I'm piercing through your nonsense, and you're shaking. Your core is like, oh, let me try to like. I don't have to say it the way you do. I actually live as a free man, sir. So let's have the back and forth. It doesn't matter how it comes off. If what I'm saying is true, it's true. Okay.
Hey,
so if you pay 50% of your livelihood back out as taxes, and I pay 1% in sales tax, I'm winning, sir. I can yell all day and pay 1% and not be in a prison.
Are you deaf? You don't have to yell, buddy. We're talking. We're right here, man. Relax.
That's fine. I can talk as loud as I'd like. I'm free, sir. But I don't live in a matrix where I have decorum. It becomes inaudible that you live by.
All right, guys. Tim, I'm really opening myself up to learning. I think a lot of us have a lot to learn. We're all on a journey. So how long has it been since you successfully decoupled yourself from the income tax, for example? And how did you do it?
I've never filed. I never believed I had to file.
You never have. Okay.
No. I mean, I've had my last quote unquote job was as an employee was working at a ski resort. So that was way before I knew what was going on. But they automatically, took a small percentage out. Wasn't making much.
And from then on, you
but for
basically
10 plus years, I've been quote unquote running my own business.
Okay.
I've been doing it for 25 years. I haven't paid the slave tax, and I ain't paying the slave tax. I don't make an income. I do consensual business with other men.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be.
In the private, and that's it. What this fellow here, the problem, if you don't mind me saying, if I can say, it's called mind control. You believe that you have to pay this tax to an agency called the IRS, whatever it may be.
Well, wait a second though. I don't think BZ just said that. I think he was saying so you don't pay taxes, and
he said you got to pay someone. That's what he said. You have to pay someone. So he has a belief.
Okay.
No,
okay.
That's not what I said.
You said exactly those words.
No,
you got to pay someone.
Okay,
I went based on what you said, Papa Luigi. You said you're enslaved to somebody. Brian commented that you're enslaved corporation-wise by using the currency. And all I was saying is some people over here saying he's not enslaved at all. We're all enslaved when we pay somebody. We have to owe somebody. We're enslaved to somebody for something, whether it be currency. Now,
why?
Now, this guy over here, Tim, I think his name was talking about how he did trades with other people for other things, which is okay. That's not owing anybody or being enslaved to anybody. But then when he started getting a little technical about saying he owned property and this, that's when I questioned the tax, because then it goes back to the statement you made and the statement that Brian made. So it's basically saying you say one thing, but you're not really meaning what was actually said.
But this is basic civics, sir. If I actually have property and I'm the priority interest holder, then I'm the only, I have first interest, right? If nobody else has any interest or claim to property, then there's nobody else has a say for how I use that property, and nobody can just tax this property at their whim or at the end of a gun.
Well, and I understand what you're saying, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you're in the United States, right, Tim?
I'm not in. If I was in the United States, I'd be dead. I'd be 6 feet in the ground.
You're not. Okay. You're not in the United States.
I'm.
Of America?
So how are we getting?
I was born on America. Yes.
We have a thing called.
Sir, the whole point is, sir, that government was supposed to be chiefly to protect man's rights, and man's chief right is to have the ability to have claims over property.
The government does that. No,
that's all it is, to protect man's rights. And the chief amongst our rights is the right to property, our body, our family, our land. It's very simple. It's gotten way too complex.
So Tim, how do you suggest that somebody, because you got to admit there a large percentage of Americans specifically are unaware of what you're talking about. How would you suggest that the average American decouple himself from the current paradigm?
So it's very simple, Brian. The first step is folks have to stop lying to themselves, because this isn't an external knowledge that I found and now I follow. I felt internally, there's no fucking way that this is right. Every fucking man in the world knows this is a bullshit. Because, off the public airwaves, off the, the conversation with your wife, at the bar, this is fucking bullshit. This taxes, this is wrong. Everybody's complaining, right? So it's wrong. We know in our hearts it's wrong, right? So maybe folks should start listening to that voice and acting on that. So go within first to decouple your slave mind with this overlay nonsense. Because we all know, I presume, that most of us know that it's wrong. 30, 40, 50 fucking % of everything that comes into us, they're not doing anything to gain that. So that's step one. Step two is, that's it. I mean, that's what I did. I went on conviction and said, you know what? I don't think this is right. I'm not fucking doing this. And whatever happens is going to happen. Now, that's kind of dangerous, right? That's dangerous, because a lot of people kind of do that, and then they can keep their LLC, they keep all their corporate contracts, and they go to jail for tax evasion. And that's what people always see. Tax evasion. He went to jail for tax evasion. there's guys, and you can look up all the cases. The greatest thing about the law is that it's fucking expressed, not implied. So everybody that goes to jail for tax evasion, in my research, understanding, opinion, is that they're still getting income. They're still like at the same job or corporation that they were before. And they're like, you know what, fuck this is wrong. But they keep the contracts that say, I will get income. I will have a job under this corporation. And this corporation follows the laws of the state of Colorado. And the state of Colorado follows the statutes of the federal code. So it's all about the contracts and what we agree to. So a very simple thing to do is one, go within. I mean, that's easy, but not, it's not simple, but that's the main thing, is to go within and realize that you're living a lie and just come to terms with it. The second easiest thing is take account of all the contracts you're in. Go and look, wait, what does my employment contract say? What does my charter for my company say with the state, if you have those things? What does my marriage license say? What does the code say? What are these definitions? It's a rabbit hole, but if you don't ever do that, then you're kind of living blindly. And right. that's how the state goes, oh, this is a person, a being that he doesn't know who he is. So he believes he needs to be adjudicated. He believes he needs to be governed. So the state goes, well, we need to govern them. Somebody's got to put this guy to use, because otherwise they'll just be a vessel at sea, just floating around. Bro, so the state is a benevolent thing, actually, and goes and takes these souls that think they're useless and powerless and actually puts them to use.
I find it quite
benevolent.
Listen, I find it quite amazing that this first world problem is all that gets talked about. Why can't we talk about the third world problem, where officers are able to put their hands on people? That's the real problem in this country. This first world problem about how much money I can make, that's your problem. You keep thinking about how much money, how much things that you can have. These officers can put their hands on people, dude.
Bro,
it's nothing to do with all this money, your wealth. You're worried about your wealth, and these officers can just walk into your house and just take whatever they want from you. Do you realize that? Do you realize that everything you own can be taken today?
Question for you, sir. How many cops are there?
Brick, we can just bring it down, man. Let's just have a conversation. There's no need to yell. I saw Paul Unslaved was here. I brought him in, and he popped out. I'd really like to get his.
I don't blame you,
let me go to somebody else. I am God. Go for it, man. What you got?
You're losing people watching the live stream.
Who you talking to?
Watchdog.
Wait.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Who said you're losing people on your live stream? Hold on a second. Who said you're losing people on the live stream?
There's a lot of people saying you're losing people. I'm watching the count go down from over 600 on the YouTube side.
I think this is an interesting conversation. If nobody else does, I don't know what to say. Go ahead, I am God.
Just came in I can't see because I've got the little banner up there.
Oh, let me take it down. I am God. What's up, man? What you got?
Hey, I am God. Oh, that's you. Okay.
What's up, bro? Hey, that's fam right there.
Hey, Brick.
Face with the name.
Yes,
I like it.
Yeah, thanks. It's a pleasure to be on. I work closely with Chile at times and everything like that. So I'm really glad about his appeal today, and I wanted to celebrate that and give him a good congratulations. And I'm a big fan of Here's the Deal. I was introduced to him through Chile, or his channel through Chile, and same as BZ. And so OTVO, we don't stop. I just wanted to shout that out because it's a big day for us right now, Team DLZ. Thanks to Chile, he actually got me to go back to school, and I'm pursuing my law degree now, thanks to him. And so, he does change lives, man. He's a good guy, and he's been a really big help in the community. So I just wanted to get that out there first. I know he's on some sovereign citizen stuff, and I was on that for a long time too. And in fact, it was the Chase Allen event that kind of swayed me a little bit, because I have that's my daughter there. Because I've got children too, and I don't want them to end up like Chase Allen. And so that
the propaganda worked. The propaganda worked then. The propaganda worked to make people not want to be free.
Wait, Tim, just let him finish.
Bouncing.
We'll let you finish. Go ahead, man.
Well, yeah, I heard you making that point earlier, is that, they're going to scare you into stopping. But I was thinking we got to just go about it a different way, because you got to think about your own children. Like, would you want your children to be doing what you're doing and have to face the repercussions, or is there some sort of better way? For me, it was becoming a civil rights lawyer and suing corrupt police and doing it the right way instead of going out like those guys did in Connecticut and shooting the 2 cops, you know, and then they got shot and all that stuff. You know, I'm going to be suing the cops. I'm going to be making my living and helping the system that way. You know, I mean, I'm not saying I have all the answers. I know Here's the Deal has a really good, clear mind. Does a lot of critical thinking on what, you know, their answers are. But we're all still trying to work it all out, you know. And so I'm just honored to be here, and I don't want to take up too much time. I just kind of wanted to maybe say something if something comes up.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for weighing in. Johnson County says, why Brian is losing views because his sensitive audience can't handle the truth in a manner that isn't calm by stroking their sensitivities, whatever. People are so opinionated. I love it. I like these conversations, even if they get heated. Paul Enslaved said, let's see. Paul Enslaved sent a super chat. You're all just cowards. End of story. Keep pretending. I want Paul Enslaved to come up so we can have a conversation. BIP Solar Bear says, as a CPA, not filing is rather risky. When it does catch up to you, it isn't going to be pretty. Use Roth and Roth conversion ladder to limit taxes. Okay. Cesario, you've been quiet. You want to add something to this?
Yeah, I want to disagree with you again, Brian. Here
Okay,
we go. Here we go. We do live in.
Wait a minute. I'm too sensitive. I think I have
well,
to
then
go.
you go ahead and come off your live stream and we'll stay on.
Okay.
Okay. We do live in China, America. We do live in North Korea, America. We do live in Nazi America. When you heard that last year, whenever it was, the Nazi Pelosi was supposed to go to China and they said they were going to bomb the plane, and then she came back all pretty and all that garbage. And then she says, China is the freest country in the world. Come on. And then when you hear Chester Cheetah, Donald Trump, when he says, the China virus, they're all a bunch of liars. It's all fake. There's no such thing as independence from from England. We're still tied to England. All of the presidents have been, are related to the Queen of England, all the way back to King George, King Henry. I don't remember which guy it was. You have that 12-year-old girl that did a genealogy on all the presidents except for one, that all related to the Queen, all the way back to King Henry, King George. I don't remember. So that's all a lie. And you had Brandon Joe Williams on your show. I took his course. Not everything he said is correct, but most of it is. And I'm still detaching myself from all that stuff. And it seems to be that being a state national is the best way to go. Is it a completely zero off? I mean, unless you're somewhere in a land where in an area where you can fish for yourself, make your own clothing, and live. Unless you're in that, I mean, I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's almost impossible, because when you get to a certain land, anywhere you go, if people see you there, and then they start asking questions, who is this guy? Does he own? Then they're going to start calling the authorities, whether it be the rangers or the cops or the sheriff. Who is this guy? And if he tries to live like that, they still will take you in, even if you say, I don't want to give my ID, I don't want none of this. And then they will still take you in anyway. So to get out of it completely is probably not possible, but we're trying. We're trying. I'm trying. I hope everybody on this call here is trying. Right? Seriously, not saying this, but then they can't answer the question correctly, and because they're not really being truthful. I'm trying to be as honest as I can. That I'm trying to do the best. I'm not there yet, but I'm trying.
Hey, Brian,
Yeah.
I gotta take
Yeah.
something real quick. I gotta take
right into the system. He's going
Wait a
right
second.
down.
Wait. Let's get Jim Dandy. He hasn't said anything yet. Jim,
Hey, Brian, can you hear me all right?
I got to take a heart out, but I wanted to just say just a real quick thing before I bounce, Brian.
Okay.
Make sure you guys all get Brian get it up to at least 500 likes real quick. He's at 392 over here. Make sure if you guys haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe, comment, help his channel out. Just to let you guys know, I've got to bounce over because delete Lawz. I'm going to be over there. It starts in about 20 minutes. So I just want to say, Brian, thanks for having me on. I am God. Brick, Jonesy, Let's OTBO, John D,
Yeah,
Papa
brother.
George, appreciate you talking and having a conversation. And Tim, no offense, man. I hope you're good. I hope you're cool, and I hope things work out for you. With that being said, see y'all later.
Hey, man, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Hey, Brian, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, go for it, Jim.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. Just a few points that I wanted to make. First of all, since the topic of the show was about Chile being released, I think that's a good thing, man. I agree with you on the fact that Chile did not have a victim. He really didn't commit a crime. He was an asshole and he was a nuisance, but those things are not illegal. So he really never should have been locked up for that. And man, I can speak from my own experience. I've been locked up for some crap like that in my past, but I'm not here to talk about me on that. But I also, with the topic of the conversation today, I wanted to, I see a lot of people are discussing their belief systems about, the powers that be and who's ruling over us. Well,
right.
It seems like we got a lot of statism, that, the belief that the state is a legitimate authority. And I'm on the side that would say that that's pretty questionable. I would say that they're not really a legitimate authority. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have some system of rule. There should be some rules, but we don't necessarily need rulers that are that have more, and a phrase that you use a lot is people who have a higher claim to our life than we do.
Mm-hmm.
Now if we hurt someone, if we go out and do something that damages someone's property, there should be a price to pay for that. Absolutely, there should. And we should all agree. I mean, I think we probably all do, that there should be a price to pay for things when you harm someone. So, I will say this, man. You guys know who Barry Cooper is, man. Barry has been on the record many times as saying that the United States is in a police state, and that, many of the other countries in the world, they don't have traffic cops. They don't have people sitting on the side of the road trying to catch you, violating some ordinance like that. That's ridiculous. So, but we're living in a police state, and there's a lot of people that I'll just go ahead and throw them all in the bootlicker box, that they don't recognize that. They don't recognize that we're living in a police state. They think that this is all good. We need to crack down on all these, people using substances and all this other thing like that. That's crazy. We don't need to be doing that. We need to have we're pouring all this money into it. If we poured the money into helping those people get help and getting off of those substances, and if I think people should be able to use them as long as they're not violating those rules that I already mentioned, is hurting someone or damaging other people's property or taking their things, which sometimes substances lead to those things. But another guy that I have a lot of admiration to is a guy named Greg Reese. I don't know if y'all know Greg. He's living in Russia now. Greg has openly said that the people in Russia, and he's been here all of his life up until the last maybe 6 months, and the people in Russia are way, way more united than the people in the United States. The people in the United States are at odds with each other because we're subject to all these psyops like ritualistic voting for, statism rulers and stuff. We don't need statism rulers. These people that we're voting for to lead us, who's the best of, the best of two evils? Well, if you pick one of them, you're still picking evil. How's that working out? So I quit participating in all that, man. I was a Republican for many years, and I voted for Republican candidates. And then I kind of had a light bulb moment, and then I became a libertarian for a little while. And I voted for Ron Paul. And I would say that maybe Ron Paul, I can't say he hasn't ever been corrupted, because I don't think you get into those positions without being corrupted. You can't get there without having some corruption. But he was probably about as close as I've ever seen, in my opinion. And I actually live on the show you did earlier today, Brian, I live in League City, Texas, so I see all these flock cameras every time I leave the house, and they ain't lying. They're all over the place. They put out things on the little newspaper that they send in the mail about, hey, we've got 65 of them out there. In the next 3 months, we're going to phase 2. We're going to throw another 50 of them out there. And, they're proud of those things, man. They're spending all the taxpayers' money. And by the way, this conversation about whether or not you're a slave. So if you have a legitimate job, your employer is compelled by the government to make you fill out documents, and those documents have to be signed and you have to fill them out. So you agree, you contract with the government. And so when I say, I hear the words paying taxes, I don't pay income tax, but when I get my pay for the labor that I have done for my employer, they've already had their hands in my pocket and they took it from me before I got mine.
They didn't take nothing. You signed up for it, sir. All of you are signing up for all of these things.
Okay,
What? Who put a gun to your head?
Tim, I'm not done yet.
Who put a gun to your head
Hey,
for you
Tim,
to go and work
Tim,
at
I'm
that
not done yet.
corporation, sir?
Tim, I'm not done yet.
Let him finish, man.
I'm not done yet.
You went on for 10 minutes, sir. Let's have a conversation.
No, I didn't go
Who
on
put a
for
gun
10
to your
minutes.
head
You've been
to work at
running
that
your mouth for
corporation?
15 to 20
Tim,
minutes.
come on. That's
calm down. You did 10
Listen,
minutes through now.
Tim,
not
you
done yet.
talk for a long time too, Tim. Come on.
That's fine.
Don't-
Let's have it
here's
back
the
and
point.
forth. None of us
You're
want to
right.
hear you ramble on for another 10 minutes.
Well, nobody
You're
wants
right.
to
Who
hear
forced you
you
to sign the
ramble,
contract,
Tim.
sir?
Are you going to let me talk, or are you going to do the talking for me?
Let's have it back and forth. Can we have it back and
Okay,
forth?
I'm
It's
trying
much more
to, but
interesting.
you keep talking over me. So here's the
All
thing,
right, answer
man.
a question. Who forced you to
Okay,
sign the
he's
work
gotta-
contract?
he's gotta
I've
make her a
already
couple
said it
points
3
first,
times
Tim.
that
Come
you're
on.
right. I did sign the contract, and the contract was signed
Great.
because why? Because my employer is compelling me to do that. Now, they won't hire me if I don't sign the contract. So I can't have the job. And by the way,
Get a
I
different
like
job.
to stop talking, stop interrupting me.
No. When you say nonsense,
All
I'm
right,
not just going
so-
to like.
You're not
Why?
even
Why
willing
should
to
we
hear
hold
what
this?
I have
do
to
it
say,
now.
man. You want to be right.
I
about
heard
it
what you
without
said.
hearing
Why do you have
anybody
to
else
work
have
at
what
that
they have
job?
to say.
You're victimizing. Why do you have
Tim.
to? Why are you such a victim?
I'm trying
Get
to
a different
tell you the
job.
reason. I'm trying
Start
to
a
tell you
business.
the reason that I signed the contract.
You're telling me the reasons of why you're a slave. Why? And I'm telling you why you.
Go ahead. I muted Tim.
You told me nothing. You just keep saying,
I just muted him for a second.
Well, you hadn't said anything, man. You haven't really given any detail on how that works.
Go ahead, Jim. Go ahead and finish up.
What?
So
you have
anyway.
an infinity of.
Go ahead and finish up, Jim.
I'm going to go ahead and keep talking. So
Go ahead.
Tim.
No, I muted him. Go ahead.
Hey, so the point is whenever I sign the contract, when I go to work for the company, they are compelled by the government to make their employees fill out that form. Now, I totally hate being a slave, but I know that I am one.
Mhm.
But the reason that I do it is because if you don't do it, eventually, not today, not tomorrow, not next week, but eventually there will be men with guns come to you, man.
Yeah.
Men with guns will be involved in this eventually. And I don't want men with guns because they have more power than me, obviously. That's why.
So
Hey, Jim, I appreciate it. Back to Shamil, you've been waiting, and then we're gonna go to Jester Man, and then we're gonna go to Joe and El Pero. Go for it, back Shamil.
Brian, could I do a quick hard out? Just quick?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Bro.
Go for it.
So yeah, I appreciate you having me up here. Thank you. It's been a wonderful panel. I really still will say that Terry versus Ohio is the biggest problem in America. It allows officers to put their hands on us. It definitely needs to be overturned, and Chile gets my vote every single time. Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate you. All right, go ahead, back Shamil.
Hey, Brian, what's going on, buddy? Just want to touch base on a digital currency. We here in New York now have Alipay. Have anyone heard of Alipay payment system? You are okay. So if I go, remember I made a video for you. You can actually, if you have that app on a smartphone, you can actually pay for the items with Alipay, and that payment processing system is a Chinese-based company who processes the payment transactions. What I'm saying, basically, we can talk all day long and have a debate. We're definitely going into the digital digital infrastructure where the fiat money is going to go away. That's point blank. It's right in our faces. So no matter what you guys do, talk about it, debate, and this thing is not going away. It's everywhere, not only in New York. If you take any major city, it's happening everywhere. So
yeah, let me direct this conversation in a different way, because now, while it's conceded, and everybody's got to concede that nobody forced you to sign on the dotted line, Tim makes the point, and it's a good one, that you're not forced to take that particular job, but if you want that job, you got to sign their paperwork and all that. And I also understand that it's easier for some people in some spheres to say something where it's probably more difficult for another person in another place. For example, a single guy could probably get away with pretty much doing whatever he wants and eating whatever he wants, but a guy with 5 kids, he's got to consider, no, I need about $55,000 a year to feed my kids, and if I got to sign on the dotted line to do this, does that make one individual more wrong than the other individual?
Good point, Brian. Very good.
It might. I don't know. Go ahead and weigh in, Joe. What do you think?
I think that's a great point. All of us have to cross that morality line with any job that we have. I don't want to go back, but I'm gonna go back a little bit. These things are obvious, man. We don't have to fool ourselves and listen to the propaganda. We know what love looks like. If there's a homeless guy and you spend all of these millions of dollars to push him away, you're probably not a good guy. If the same thing with immigrant, if your first instinct is to make harsh laws, that points you in the direction of a person's heart. And I'll be quiet and wait.
Jester, you're up. Thanks, Joe.
Hey, good day to the panel. Thanks, Brian, for having me on.
Yeah,
really big fan of your channel, brother. I'm up here in Canada. I want to start up something similar to what you're doing. You asked all the right questions, man. I really encourage you. I thank God for you, man, because you're actually one of the most reasonable guys out there on YouTube, like top 3 for sure, man, 100%. So I just want to give you that shout out. The other thing I want to share is essentially I'm up here in Canada. I got a channel called Down with the Crown. If you really want to understand what's going on in the world and things like that about our position in law, you need to understand one thing, is that we're all considered bonded sureties to a bankrupted franchise under the one and only true corporation called the Crown, the Triple Crown. So in law, that's the most important thing we got to understand. That's why Chile, what he's doing, what you're doing, Brian, is very important for people to be out there and understand who we are in this world. When you go in front of the courts, with the government, when they look at us, you got to understand how they see you. And if you don't understand that, you're not going to really be able to fight these people. And just so you guys understand, I went to court. I fought off charges. I didn't get a lawyer. I was able to fight off charges from unreasonable charges from police officers here in Ottawa, which is a truckers convoy. I was here trying to essentially report on things, and I was violated by just for recording out in public. Also at the courthouse, they were trying to prevent us from recording inside. And I was attacked by police, and then essentially I was able to fight off the charges. And that's the thing I'm trying to say to people here. The auditing community right now needs to understand the law on a symbolic level. Chile right now, he's doing a lot of great work, and I appreciate what he's doing. The fact that he got the appeal today, I knew it was going to happen. There's no way he was not going to get that appeal, because there's nothing that he did wrong. And once you understand the law on a symbolic level, you will understand how to defend yourself in court. And so right now, I see a lot of auditors out there here in Canada. We have True North Transparency.
Yeah.
Which right now, okay, this guy, like I've actually went down to Ottawa, tried to meet up with this guy, and he's actually not helping anything. All he's doing is doing a lot of bad stuff. So there are a lot of frauditors out there. Like, I'm saying, like, I'm not shitting on the good ones. I know there's a lot of good guys out there. Like I could name so much, like James Freeman. You got delete Lawz for sure. These guys need to understand the law symbolically. If you do not know this, and if you go to court getting a lawyer, you're considered incompetent. Okay, that's number one. So as soon as you have someone else speaking for you, if I go ahead into a fight with someone and I say, okay, well I can't fight, I'm going to get my buddy here to fight for me, and then he wins the fight, did I really win the fight? And that's the thing, folks, is that if you're going to go out there and put yourself out there like Chile is doing, you got to know this stuff. You got to be your own warrior, folks. You can't be out there trying to say, hey, know our rights and freedoms, but you're not even doing the great work yourself. Okay, you got to be the morality, the principles, everything that you are talking about, rights and freedoms, you have to know them. You have to understand their constitution, the UDHR, which this is all based on natural universal law, the great law of peace. All the native cultures, the Six Nations democracy here in Canada and the United States, they had their own constitution. And in the United States, Canada all drove from those constitutions in order to make their own. And here in Canada, we're not even a country. The United States, you're not a country, okay? You're all bankrupted franchises. And that's very, very important to know. If you don't know this, I'm telling you guys, you're going into a fight not knowing who you are and not even understanding who your enemy is.
So you're saying, Jester man, you're saying when they drag you into court, then you need to operate pro se, correct?
Exactly. You have not even represent yourself. You're supposed to go in court and know who you are.
Jester man, while you're talking, can you drop your link in the chat? I can't find it, or I would have already dropped it. It doesn't come up.
Yeah, I can share my channel. You mean?
Yeah, Down with the Crown channel. When I type it in, it doesn't come up.
No worries.
And other people in the chat are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
If you could just drop the link or let us know what the link is.
Yeah, I can do that right now.
Let me just say something to everybody while I got the panel here. I mean, like, wisdom obviously doesn't begin and end with me. I've got a lot to learn. I feel like I've only taken my first step on this journey, and a lot of you are way more, down the path than I am. I wish, and I understand passion, everybody gets passionate and stuff, but I wish we could all just exhibit just a little bit more patience with each other. Cause for me, it's baby steps. I might be an infant sucking out a bottle and you're cutting into a big juicy steak. It's like, we all got different things on our plate. We got different things going on, but I feel like if we can work together and have some understanding, we made it this far. Can we help each other across the finish line? That's all I'm asking.
Well, absolutely, Brian. That's the thing. What I like about your channel is that you're humble. You out there, you don't have all the answers, and that the sayings that you have are amazing. They're great things. They stay with me. Like, my mom watches your channel all the time. Like, my mom used to wonder why I used to get upset watching cop watch videos and things like that. And then now she's hooked on these videos now. And now she's the one yelling at the freaking television, And it's like, she sees you coming along and she's like, hey, this is what we need. We need more guys like Brian, more guys like James Freeman, guys that are actually putting themselves out there, having the courage and think enough of themselves, okay, to put themselves out there and inspire others to do the same thing and to be humble at the same time, and not thinking that, well, I'm in this because I'm here to be a superstar and I'm here to be the #1 top auditor and whatever. No, it's about all of us here. We're all suffering. We've all been attacked in some way. We've seen people that we care about being attacked by our governments, right? And we want it to stop. We want the transparency. We want these people to be held to account, because this is frustrating, because every time we see a video of someone getting assaulted, we're living it.
Yeah, that's
every time I'm living it. Every time, all the past traumas that I went through, I'm reliving it every time. And it's like, hey, guys, you know what? If you keep this up, and I'm a very calm, cool, collected kind of guy. I've given the Ottawa Police Services so many opportunities, and they know they've done wrong. I have so much evidence. I've actually embarrassed these people in the courthouse. I wish I could have recorded without being threatened, because here in Canada, we don't have rights and freedoms, folks. We have benefits and privileges and services. And we're all considered to be legal persons. They don't, and as soon as you try to stand upon you being not a human being, but a man, a living, breathing man, a child of the Almighty Creator, well, they may give you a hard time about it. I'll tell you that. And I went through the process. I did everything right. And I went to three judges. And the third one finally, she said, okay, we're not going to be pursuing this. And they stayed the charges. And when you stay the charges here in Canada, it means that they didn't have enough evidence, or that my rights were going to be violated at trial. So
hey, Jester man, hang tight. I want to give you some more. Contact me at contact@highimpactflix.com and give me that link, and I'll put it in the chat. Until then, El Perro, I think you were next. Jester man, we're going to come back to you. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. El Perro, you're on.
Okay. Appreciate it. Greetings, everybody. And first off, I want to mention Timmy up here. He's absolute spot on when we have to think about everything we deal with every day as a contract. However, in a contract, you have to understand that it has a surety, fidelity, or some kind of insurance or tax backing it under a trust, which is a superior law. Jester Man, you mentioned UHDR. I want to mention that's Universal Declaration of Human Rights under the ICRC, International Committee of Red Cross, and the UN. We have to understand this law trickles down from the top up, right? In all of this written law, it trickles down in their written laws. But again, the true law is in your heart. And that's where all of those laws came from, was in the hearts of the men that wrote them. We have to understand the intent of all of those laws. I don't give a fucking rat's ass about the letter of the law. We have to understand that's the confusion. Everybody thinks they understand English, and they're using totally different definitions under those contracts, which is contracting you in without knowing it, makes it an implied contract that now that you've signed it without qualifying that signature as your capacity or quote status of the use of that contract, now you're screwed. You have to learn this stuff in a simple contract form so you can place it in the proper trust. And that's in the correction of the words, rightly dividing them for your benefit. That's the only problem.
Is that even a thing, right? I don't have your knowledge. You've been doing this shit for 30, 40 years. You don't have a grasp. Is this really a feasible option you're giving us here to learn their fucking shit and use it against them? The more you guys talk, the less I think it's real.
Absolutely.
Give us.
Can I show you one code that's going to show you everybody? I can assume everybody on this panel understands equity, right? Equity
well, just in case they don't, just go ahead and
okay.
Hey, hold on. El Perro, do you need to share a screen? Do you want to share a screen?
No, you well, if you want, yeah.
Or I can just tell me what you want me to type in, and I'll throw up on the screen while you're talking. Go ahead.
Well, I'll just drop the link in the back chat.
Okay, I've got El Perro's link in the chat room if you guys want to look up his YouTube channel.
Everybody understands, like I said, the contract is the bottom part of a trust. Just like a trust law is superior to contract law, equity is superior to both. Equity is the law of man, and that's the point of rightly dividing the word of truth. 39 U.S. Code 2002, capital of the Postal Service. The initial capital of the Postal Service shall consist of the equity. Nowhere else will you find anything backed by equity. That is what backs your equity to your monetary system today is equity, and it's the capital of the Postal Service, and it's the Postal Service that has the real estate investment trust under the SEC. That's where that account belongs. The judicial office, not the administrative office.
Okay, so practically lived out and practically speaking, how have you used this to your benefit in your life, El Perro?
Yeah, now
that's what I'm working on right now. I'm putting it into effect.
Okay.
And how into effect now with notices and the establishment of my private trust.
Okay, there you go.
All of my material existences belong to that trust.
Okay, there you go. Notices to who?
President, Pentagon, Department of State, Bureau of Vital Statistics. 35 of them I sent out or 33 of them I sent out yesterday.
Does this go out certified mail?
Yeah, you should always
send them out regular mail.
Oh, regular
mail. I just sent them out regular mail as an initial mailing based on 3 mailings that went to the IRS. 2 of them went to the IRS and 1 to the governor. Tort claim to the governor.
And when did you send this out? And do you have a copy of like what you sent so that everybody can learn from that?
Absolutely. I do videos on my channel all the time.
All right, I'm throwing one of your videos up on the screen right now.
Well, see, the other thing, you were talking about El Perro, and I agree with so much of what you shared.
Sorry, go ahead.
Is essentially when I went to court, I actually never used paperwork, and all I had to use email, because email there's a postmaster general. So when you use the email, it's just as legal as anything else. How am I supposed to give you a notice? If I give you a notice with my words, or if I give you a notice with the email, or I go on YouTube, I do a public service announcement, send it off to all the crown attorneys and everyone, and they see it, they've been put on notice.
Understand what your electronic communication is today.
Exactly.
Each keystroke has a timestamp, and then it's securitized in a blockchain.
Exactly.
Where do you think blockchain comes from?
Well, see, that's
It's
the
a
thing.
chain.
Like, right,
It's a chain of title to the truth.
that's right. That's right. See, right now, our whole system. See, my uncle deals in Switzerland. He's been doing this for 20 years. He's been dealing with the Freemasons. He's been talking about how this whole system is going to be changing. All quantum financial systems kicking in. Everything is going to be happening right now with the BRICS nation. You see, Saudi Arabia is off the dollar and all that stuff. I've known this for years. The whole COVID thing was all essentially a way to restructure our financial system.
Yeah.
The world runs through the banks, the postal offices, and the ports, and all run by Switzerland. And so Switzerland, they rule the world. Was that?
The Swiss franc is the modern weight and currency of the gold. Now you turn around and look at the Swiss Confederation. That's the federal chancellor when we talk about equity. And that's because they're the seat of that Swiss franc for the constitutional use through the Universal Postal Union.
That's right. Yeah. Right. That's the thing is, like, if you guys really want to understand like our system of governance and the history and stuff, guys, check out Guri Chatsafrat. He's on YouTube. His name is Sean Ross. I can share the link with you guys. He explains the whole system about like the feudal royalist system with the Tata Republican, and it's all through Switzerland, how they become the rulers of the world, and they rule through us through the banking, the military-industrial complex, the police, the courts, all these things is all done through Switzerland. Essentially, it's the Holy Roman Empire, and that's why our police, when you see here in Canada, you'll see the wreath. They use the civitas crown, which represents the Holy Roman Empire. That's how it works.
I'm gonna be rolled. All that shit's great. How does it help me? I'm outside of Canada and the United States. When you
It's all the same. It's all the same.
Very good. Yeah.
The UN.
So does it help Wizard with all his knowledge? Are you better off than I am? With one of you Americans?
It's all contract. It's all contract protected by a trust. You understand how to use those two elements. You're just as capable of the powers of any nation. You have plenipotentiary powers to run your own business affairs. You don't need a banker. You don't need an accountant. You don't need a post office. You are your own post office.
And in the end, this keeps me out of jail. This keeps me from paying taxes. How does this benefit me? Does it shut down the cops and stop the government? What end?
No, it makes the cops smash your windows out and throw you on the ground and tase you and trump up your charges. All this does is cause conflict. They'll impound your car, and then what are you going to do? Show them your papers, and they're going to let your car out? No, you got to pay for that. You got to pay for your bond. You got to go in front of the judge. They're going to throw the book at you. That's
okay. So we have
beat
seen
child support.
Yeah,
Have you beat custody.
Hold on a second, El Perro. Hold on 1 second, because there is this rubber meets the road disconnect where you see it work for some people sometimes, and other people get their windows busted out, and then you got Brandon. I can't remember what his name is. But I had what's that?
Brandon Tatum.
No, Brandon, the guy who does what El Perro's talking about
Brandon Joe Williams.
Brandon Joe Williams, yes. And then El Perro. So, but everybody's got their different slant on it. But Joe asked a really good question. It's like, okay, but is this going to keep me out of jail? Is this going to keep the IRS from coming to my door? Is this going to keep me from like being removed from my family and then my family starving or not having a place to live? So I'll tell you what, let us have Chris. I'm going to give you a chance right here because you haven't talked yet, but who's interested in having just a dedicated live stream where we talk about this, and from square one we go, okay, what's the first thing that somebody who doesn't know anything about this, what do we do? How do we set up a trust? How do we fill out the affidavits? How do we make the forms the way they're supposed to be? Is anybody interested in doing that?
I'm interested. I want in on that shit because I want to see it all.
I do too, because guys, I've been trying to learn this for years, and it just, for some reason, it doesn't sink in for me. And I really want it to, because I want to be free. I'm not free. So, Chris,
Brian, that's the thing. Like, I wanted to add to what you're saying. Is like, I'm happy that you're talking about this, because this is what I'm trying to establish here in Canada. I'm trying to get some people to put all their skills together and do these things and set up a good system where we can actually follow easy instructional steps. And I'm telling you guys, the law is very simple once you bring it down to a symbolic level. That's what I'm telling you. A picture paints 1,000 words. I'm telling you, once you understand it on a symbolic level, like law is an acronym for land, air, and water. That's what it means, that we're made of land, air, and water. If I deprive you of land, air, and water, I'm breaking the law. I'm causing harm or injury.
Where do you find that, though?
Yeah. That
Land,
was,
air, and water. Where do you find that?
You read my mind, Chris.
Yeah, so that's the thing is, there's a guy you can listen to. His name is Christopher James here in
Where
Canada.
do you find that? Not where the guy find it. Where do you derive that from,
I'm
brother?
saying, go to awarriorcalls.com. A warrior calls. Here, I'll give you the link. This guy.
I don't want a link. I don't want it like what another man is saying. I want to know where you get it from.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with you.
His website, he's got all those links to show all the backing of what his claims are. Like, and if you look at anything in law, it's always based on, a lot of it is always acronyms. There's 3 systems of law.
Yeah, I got it. Land, air, and water.
No,
I got it. There's equity law with this.
Hey, Chris, let me ask you a question.
Sorry.
Let me. No, you're good. I want you to talk because I want to hear what you have to say. But let me ask Chris's question in a different way. Jester Man, how do we know that the courts are going to recognize land, air, and water? You know what I mean? How
I can answer that.
Well,
Okay.
the thing is that I'm proof of it, that when I went to court, they pretty much, they're recognizing a lot of what I was saying, claiming my claims that I was making in the court. I was saying, hey, I'm not a legal person. I don't want to be recognized as a legal person. Saying that like that, well, that they were acknowledging it. You could see the judges were like, okay, this guy knows the law. He knows who he is. You know what I mean? They weren't just throwing any kind of nonsense at me. Once you deal with people and then they see that you know who you are in the court, you see that the thing is totally different. You'll see a lot of people you'll see videos of people like sovereign citizens. They call them that, which is nonsense.
Yeah.
But I mean, they'll see them and they fail. It's because they don't know who they are. They're hearing this for the first time. They're going, but they haven't done the work.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying is that, see, all it is, guys, is here's my example. When I was a child, I used to go to school. I had a choice between religion and morals. And I would always pick morals. I would never pick religion. I would always pick morals. And basically what I always, had better morals and more ways of doing with things in school than the other kids. Everyone else would take religion. They get their morals from Jesus and all that kind of stuff, which I was like, what the heck? Why do I need to get that? It's just basic common sense. You don't hurt other people because you don't want to get hurt, stuff like that. So basically when you go into law, it's just morals. It's just basically having morals. And the best way to have morals is knowing who you are. If you don't know who you are, then how are you going to be able to be an example to anyone else and have morals? If you don't know that, well, let's say you're going around and you're a kind of person that likes to get punched in the face all the time. Well, you're the last person that you should be a leader and try to lead people in doing things, right? So that's basically law. That's all it is, folks. It's just common sense. It's just universally understanding that, hey, I have a body and it's made of land, air, and water, and I have a conscience. That's why the crown, okay, that's symbolic of conscience, is that they're claiming authority over our conscience, okay, our connection to the Almighty Creator. The Holy Roman Empire claims that, well, only you can speak to their Pope and to their priest to talk to God. And so when you go to court, you're actually going to a curia, which is it's a church. So essentially, if you don't know who you are and you don't have your own conscience, well, they're going to say, well, we're going to put our crown upon you, and then we're going to claim conscience. That's why when a lot of people say, Your Honor, well, why? I have my own honor. You have your own. Why would I say Your Honor? If I'm saying Your Honor, then I'm in dishonor. So that's the thing. It's just understanding symbolically that who you are in this world is you're not a corporation. You're not a decedent, considered to be dead and never been alive. When you go to court, that's what they claim you to be.
All right, Jester Man, let's go to Chris real quick. Chris, you wanted to say something, and then we're going to kind of wrap this up. But we are going to talk more about this, believe me. Go ahead, Chris.
All right. I want to say hello to you, Brian, and thank you for bringing me up. I've been watching you for a long time, brother, and I appreciate your work. Thirst for truth, brother.
Thank you.
That's
man.
who I am. First of all, I wanted to tell my man, and I wasn't doing this to be disrespectful to you, and we really have to be conscious, and we have to be kind towards one another. There shouldn't be a real heated debate, although it is something that is heated. Timmy was right with a lot of the stuff he was saying. I think that was the guy with the hood.
Right.
All right. Now, I asked you, where do you derive law from? Land, air, and water. Well, I'm just going to, I don't know all this knowledge, but I've been studying it for a year. And Brian, you're not the only one. In this community, there is so much misinformation. Yeah. But I do know that there is truth to it. I have a bunch of books here, but I'm gonna drop a couple pearls right here. Okay, the First Amendment. What is the First Amendment? Does anybody remember?
Yeah, press, religion, assembly.
Okay. Now you were talking about morals, right? Like morals about law. Okay, our First Amendment is freedom of religion, part of it. Now, when we go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, this is how I would fight this in court. Now, just bear with me. I'm going to read it right here. And it said, and God said, let us make man. It didn't say human. It didn't say corpse. Now, remember, the word corporation comes from corpse. So if we're not going to use our brains, technically we're a corpse. And that's why corporations can be persons, and people is different than person. But anyway, let me continue with this. I'm getting to the point. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, it says, and God said, let us make man in our image. It says, after our likeness. And then let him have in dominion over the fish of the sea. The fish of the sea, that's water, that's commerce, contract law. And over the fowl of the air. The air, that's heavens, that's the air, that's equity. And then when we go to and all the earth is land. So that's how I would explain where law comes from. Now, is that 100%? I don't know. In my religion, that I have freedom, that's how you would start to bite. So I hope I bring a little bit of clarity to some of it. So
makes a lot of sense, Joe.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. So like any of you guys, if you want to hit me up, I'll teach you the little bit that I know. I've been studying this for a while, but there's a lot of misinformation. But like my man said there, like laws is morals. That's why you have that First Amendment right. That's going to help you so much once you start. And then what Timmy was saying, that it's all mental. Brian always says this all the time. Gobierno mente, govern mind. Now I'm going to tell you something. It's true. It's true, because we have to break that spell that all men are created equal. And if you read the first two paragraphs of the Declaration of Independence, don't just read it once, don't read it twice, read it. And words you don't understand, like prudence, understand what that means. But I'm going to yield. I hope like that helps a lot of people, because we all got to get on this page and be careful for a lot of these scammers that just want to make money. And a lot of these dudes are doing that. But we can help each other. Even, we got to come together. But I yield, brother. Thank you, Brian, for letting me speak.
No, hey, I really appreciate it. Blind Justice has a really good question for anybody who wants to answer this. How do you get medical care without signing a contract? Blind Justice is a disabled vet, and he is legally blind. He has a YouTube channel. How do you get medical care without that contract, El Perro?
You don't. You go ahead and sign the contract, but you understand the terms. Let me pull this up.
You have to do a claim of rights, but that's another thing. But yeah,
I signed it. I signed it by benefactor, expressing the trust and my position in the trust. And on the back of it, this is the part that I enforce. It says under the sale agreement, it says right on the top of it, sales agreement from the emergency room. And it says sales agreement. It says the customer agrees to pay the stated price for the equipment, it being understood that credit will be given to the customer's account for payments. So if I'm making the payment, they are obligated to do what in return? Give my account credits. That's the stated contract term. Understand it, enforce it.
And this is something, El Perro, that you would take into like an emergency room or whatever, and the nurse or whoever the staff is would sign it?
Of course not.
Yes, it is.
And so would you say, El Perro and Jester, would you say that one of the most important things for an individual to do is to set up a trust?
Well, the thing is that you already have a trust set up. That's the thing, is that you have two trusts.
Express it by benefactor. They can't displace you as a trustee or a grantee or anything. You have no obligations as a benefactor because you are the primary person that's supposed to receive the benefit.
And
So
go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
So I go in there, I get health care. I don't even have to pay for it because I sign under the benefactor and all of that shit. I never have to pay for that. Other people do. That doesn't sound equal under God. That doesn't sound godly to me, getting free shit.
Well, no,
Hey,
it's the trust was essentially created by the aristocrats. Okay, so if you understand the history of the Setsuika V, and then you have Unum Sanctum, these are the first trusts. The first
I
trust
got
was
you.
Unum Sanctum.
Listen, I appreciate your history, and I'm a bit of an asshole. I'm talking about practical application at this
Yeah,
point,
no,
man.
that's
That's
fine.
all I'm interested in.
Okay.
We
So let me
understand.
show you the next part. So let me show you the next part. You see that LITT in the bold yellow?
We'll take your word for
Okay.
it. I don't want to zoom in. I've been smoking.
There, I just zoomed in. There you go.
That's the first four letters of the last name. See that? It's the first four letters of the last name. That's not the last name. That's a firm name. So what they've done on the face of the instrument is they've converted it for their use in the matrix.
That is interesting.
Yeah, now they've made a corporate investment without your knowledge off of your health information.
Essentially, they're committing fraud. Because
absolutely.
Yes, that's the way I understand it. The way he just expressed it. Yeah.
But
but you guys,
but let me finish real quick here.
Okay.
The exception is the doctrine of necessity. They cannot do the paperwork without you.
That's right.
So with that, the information you put on the document is very important. They don't teach you that. They do, however, to teach you at 5 years of age to start learning to write your name and the address for postal reasons, for everything you're going to post in anything in life, including Facebook posts, YouTube posts, all this. They're all postal issues. They all have some kind of value. Today, like I said, electronic. Every keystroke has a certificate, timestamp. Boom.
And Jester Man, what you're saying is that there's already a trust set up. You just have to basically tap into it.
Exactly. Like what it is that you have your you have two trusts. Essentially, you have to, because they actually claim you to be dead. So after 7 years, if you've been disappeared,
yes.
Okay. So now, essentially, if you don't go and tell the government or send a letter saying, "Hey, actually, I'm Charles here. I'm actually still alive. I'm alive and well. I'm still the beneficiary of my trust." Well, they're going to consider you to be dead, and now they're going to essentially you're no longer the beneficiary. Someone else takes over as your beneficiary, and now you become the trustee or something like that. I'm still trying to work that part out, but essentially, they're reversing roles on you and then considering you to be a decedent, which means that you're dead and never were alive. So so just think of it that way. Like if you think you have rights, if you're dead, what right do you have to remain silent, right? And that's why when the police stop you, they say you have the right to remain silent because they're telling you straight up, you're dead. You're considered a legal person, a legal fiction. You're not even alive. So therefore you have the right to remain silent. And that's for them to actually try to get you to remain silent because see, your voice is your right, is your life. If they keep you silent, you're not going to be able to defend yourself. And that's why the First Amendment is essentially your voice. Because your voice is what's going to give you any kind of lineage in this world, right? Like if you want to have milk, Mom, I want milk. Well, you got to cry, so you're going to get milk. So if they take that away from you and you get a lawyer to go and do it for you, well, then essentially you're considered dead. You're not alive. You can't even speak your mind. So that's the thing. It's all symbolic, folks. And that's the thing. Like you have to really break it down back to the symbolic level. You have to start with 0 point with yourself. You got to exercise good conscience every day. In order to expect equity, you have to deal in equity. You have to essentially learn your maxims of law, things like that. Like it's not going to be an easy process, but it's going to be a fun one, and it's going to be challenging, but it's going to be a lot more fun. You know why? Because there's guys like me, there's guys like El Piro, there's guys like Robert Menard, Christopher James, Gemstone University. There's all these people out there. They're like freaking sharing this information freely for you to learn from. It's just exposing yourself to it day in and day out, just like listening to Brian every day. Like I listen to your videos every day. Every time you put out stuff, Brian, I listen to your stuff. I listen to what you have to share. And
come on, bro.
The more I become better at the material that I'm supposed to get good at, right? That's all it is, folks. It's just you got to work at it. You got to become an athlete when it comes to law. That's it. It's not going to be easy. But
okay, so how long, Jester Man, how long have you been living in this knowledge? How long have you been operating in this?
So my journey started back in 2006, but I'll tell you since COVID happened, that's when it steeped up. Like I was like, kind of like this, and then did like a hockey, the hockey stick chart.
Yeah.
I exponentially just, and especially when I got attacked at the courthouse. And then that's the thing. I was actually helping out friends with legal matters. Like I was actually helping them defend themselves in court. And by helping them, I got attacked by a police constable at the courthouse. And then now I had to defend myself against the Crown. And it was like the experience. I tried to get lawyers. No lawyers want to help me. So I had to defend myself. I said, okay, well, I got this. I'm going to do this. And I was able to do it because essentially I knew who I was. Like once you know who you are in the system and how they see you, and on a symbolic level, like I say, like I'm super deep in this stuff, guys. Like I'm telling you, I don't even know.
May I say something?
I even know who they worship. Okay, like who the Crown and the kings and the Switzerland and all of them. I know who they worship, the God that they actually worship. I know who it is. I can explain it to you on the symbolic level. But it's just like, it's so much for people to grasp at first because it's so like, okay, like it's overwhelming. But eventually you just got to dive into it, guys. Like that's what I mean. Like if you're going to be an auditor, you're going out there. Well, that's perfect. You're going to learn as you go. And it's by being persecuted and being attacked that you're going to essentially grow to be a warrior. Without, if you have someone holding your hand in the whole process, you're not going to be the best as you can be in the battlefield. That's
I disagree with that. I mean, a student should become greater than a teacher. You know what I'm saying? And we need to learn from something. I mean, so I disagree with that. You are right. This whole battle is spiritual, though. I will say that. Like, in my personal opinion, from what I see, this whole battle, with respect, I'm going to disagree with you, but this whole battle is spiritual. Like, you're right. You have to know who you are. You have to know that you're a man. And if you guys want another, like, little gem, there is, oh, man, like, there's so much, and it's easy to talk one-on-one, but I didn't mean to just, like, to cut you off, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
No, it's okay. Like, no worries, brother. Like, all I'm saying is, guys, like, if you want to take a journey with me, check out my channel. I do live streams, like at least I try to do once a week. I did a few police auditing videos, stuff like that. Like I just go and whatever encounters I can get, but I'm trying to get some help as well with video auditing and stuff like that and get people with me to go and not protest, but just go talk, go in front of the courthouse, just, say, hey, like, this is what we are, folks. Are you okay with this? That we are bonded sheriff, bankrupted franchise under the one and only true corporation called the Triple Crown. Are you okay with that? You ask a police constable that. You ask someone that's a lawyer saying, hey, this is the situation we're in. Are you okay with this situation? And do you think enough of yourself to want to change the situation? That's the question we got to ask ourselves. Do you think enough of yourself to make change? If this answer is no, sit in the corner and let the adults take care of shit. But if you are interested, get into the fight.
Check this out.
Let me just give an opposing view real quick, and then you can talk there, Joe.
I was about to do the same. You go ahead.
Yeah, no. Ragnar says natural law is utter BS. This guy is delusional. The facts are might is right. Might makes right. The government has the guns and does and will do whatever it wants. There is no law. What delusional idiots. Any retort for that, Jester Man or Joe?
I don't retort to insults and people that have no actual arguments to bring to the table. So why would I even bother?
Well, how about this without the insults? But there is the idea of might makes right. Whoever has the biggest police force, whoever has the biggest stick wins the day. Basically, how do you overcome people who are so focused on executing violence on somebody who just wants to be left alone?
Well, that's the thing. You just got to get rid of that fear of death, fear of being hurt. You got to get rid of that. Like, don't fear death. Like, know that you're not just a living, breathing man. You are spiritual. You are mind. Everything is mind. That's
everything is mental.
Thing is this. And if you compromise that, when you're dead, that's all you're left with, folks. So you better make it a beautiful playground. And I'm telling you, if you're going to stand there and allow people to rape and murder and do these things and stand and let it happen, you better be ready for a bumpy afterlife, right? I'm telling you.
Jester, while Joe is talking, can you email me right now your YouTube channel so I can put it in the chat? contact@highimpactflix.com. I'll put it in the chat. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Jester, you said something about we learn this stuff and have some victories. I've been looking into it, and first of all, I am a fan. I'm one of those guys in El Pelro's room learning this shit, and I'm a fan. I feel like I need to learn this, but I'm also a realist. You said we need to have victories. I've been damn it, stop texting me. I've been looking into this shit, and I've been looking for victories, man. I can't say I found one. I'm not speaking Canada, U.S. I can't find one that I can't attribute to they just got frustrated and said they're easier victims. I haven't seen a lot of victories. Like I could point to some in the cop watching some case law bullshit or whatever. Where can I point to the victories here?
Victories are going to be a lot in private, bro. Like that's where like the private sector, I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
And
what they got to do with, no, I'm strictly talking about fucking with the government. I'm not talking about private shit.
Yeah, I got what you're saying, but you really think that the government, and I'm just going to say, like, you really think that they're going to be posting this stuff willy-nilly, people going through, they're really going to keep that stuff
No, I'll
private.
do that. You show me the case that they won. I'll post it. All of us will lose our fucking minds and post it.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, Joe. I've got Jester Man's YouTube channel up on the screen right now.
Hey, Brian, I wanted to just say something. What did that gentleman say that, like the laws of nature or something like that? What was he saying?
Natural law is utter BS is what he said.
Well, then he should go to the Declaration. And may I ask, have you guys all read the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and at least the Bill of Rights? Has everybody?
Read them again now.
Okay, well, I just want to tell you, for the gentleman who said that, with respect, I say this, go to the first paragraph of the Declaration of Independence, and it says right there, I'm just going to read this, though. It says, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God. Boom. Like, I mean, like, people that talk that have not read and really got into the esoteric part of the Constitution.
I think we know you guys are correct. I'm not disputing that. I know you're correct. I think me and Brian's argument and some people in the chat is they don't care that you're correct. They're not going to listen to you. Some guy does this for 40 years and he wins on a couple on a court thing and he gets out. This is our victory. Yeah.
Listen, and mad respect to you, man, because I used to watch you go out with your boy over there. I forget where it was.
Yeah.
Big respect to you. But I want to say that just because you got a license and you got insurance, does that ensure that when you get into an accident, people ain't going to be a scumbag about it?
It does not.
It doesn't. So that's always going to be a 50-50 thing. And like my man said over there, I'm sorry, I forget you guys' names, but like he said that, you know, you got to give notice, proper notice. And a part of doing that, like, that's why you got to kind of know your P's and Q's. And nothing is, I mean, somebody can just murk you just because they're going to murk you.
Well, listen, we're talking about you've mischaracterized my stuff. We weren't talking about I'm particularly talking about you have very few exceptions. Normally a license gets you through the day. A few times it's gonna fuck you over. Where is this effectiveness? And I don't mean, I don't want to be beat up on you guys because I chase this shit every day. But let's be honest, I don't see and even when I become a master, it may benefit me, but it's useless if it doesn't benefit others. How do I use this to help me achieve my goals and our goals?
Okay, can I just ask you something? Have you read the Declaration of Independence and have you read the Bill of Rights? Do you know them pretty good?
I honestly don't think I do. That's why I'm rereading them, the Constitution, all that. Yeah.
God bless you for being honest. Hold on. I just want to say this. If we don't start with knowing a little bit of stuff and we just assume and presume all that stuff's going to happen and we haven't taken the first steps to learn this stuff pretty good, then you're always going to be guessing. That's what I got to say. I yield.
Okay, but I know that stuff really well, and I'm totally agreeing with what the other guy was saying, is that you can go tell the cop on the street what the Declaration of Independence says. He don't give a damn. And neither does the judge. I'm
not saying that you're going to argue with the guy on the street with that, bro. Like, that's why there's steps to this level. You guys are looking at this from, wow, as you guys say that a cop just drove down the street. But there's different levels. You're not going to go and say, hey, have you read the Declaration? I mean, but there's certain paperwork you can have. And that's why you give notice to like the state general, the mayor. Like there's certain paperwork that you got to put people on notice. Now, is anything 100%? No, you might have that dude who's just crazy and stuff, but there's a certain way to roll with this.
Is your shit 5%, 10%? We're not talking about 100%. Stop saying it like that's what anybody's thinking here. It's not even.
No, it's a 50-50. Depends
it's
on what
not 50.
Exactly, 50-50.
You think it's
you know it.
All right. You think it's 50-50? You'll win in court or on the street if you have your knowledge? 50-50?
Maybe not on the street.
Feeling at the time.
Exactly.
If the cop's all coked up and on one, he'll smash your windows, he'll abuse you, he'll trump up your charges. It depends on what cop you get, and that's why half of these That's why half these sovereign videos piss me off, because some of them get away because the cop is lazy, and all it does is make other people think they can do it. And then they get one of these fucking cops who doesn't lay down, or pardon my French, and it doesn't go. And then you end up like Chase Allen.
That is a good point. I am God. That's a really good
The
point.
thing is, I'll tell you guys, is always maintain a level of respect, honor. I have a saying. It's called respect, love, and honor is your sword, shield, and armor. Anytime a police officer pulls you over, gets ridiculous with you, your best revenge against your enemies is to not be like them. Okay, so what you got to do is always maintain a level of respect, honor.
Always.
Always. Okay?
I'm a fan of respect for a while, and then tear him a new asshole so he doesn't go ask the next 6 people their
Yeah,
ID.
I've seen your work, Joe. Listen, how many of you guys have stuff like this? I don't know.
Because the thing is that legal world, like that's the thing. You don't really want to delve in the legal world because legal just means allegiance to the Holy Roman Empire. Okay?
Yeah, but you have to be able. You have to be able to be sprinkled amongst the nations so that you learn their tongue.
Yeah, but and you're right, 100% is what I'm saying is that once you understand the law symbolically, you don't need to understand, because see what the legal terms are used. They're using spells to twist everything around. So
but all words.
Yeah, but
all words are spells, brother. All words like curses.
But the thing is that not all words are meant to deceive, whereas legalese is. It's
you're right.
Well done.
Okay,
you're right about that, but there's also different definitions, and in order to combat them, you have to know what they mean by that. Like, let's take the word pen, for instance.
Well,
what kind of pen? Go ahead. All right, I'm sorry.
No, but you're right, Joe, and like I know what you're saying, and like I agree with what you're saying. Like, and you're not wrong to actually learn that, man. What I'm saying is that, see, like, how do you know what they're saying? Well, always remember is that they're always trying to do the opposite of good.
Yeah,
so
but
it's easy to catch what they're doing. Right? It's so easy. It's just like, so like you say, oh, okay, so they're trying to entrap you. They're trying to use words like, like are you refusing counsel? So the word refuse, which means to refuse something together, like to fuse, So you're actually when you say yes, you're saying you're agreeing. See how they're deceiving. So every time they're using a word against you, you say, okay, well they're trying to.
And it's every word. I'm learning the words out on the street. Everything is used against you. Every fucking word they have a different meaning. Yeah. And in court, it's way crazy. I have no understanding.
Yeah, but can I?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that. If you say you understand me, I'll walk in there and say, yes, I understand. And I've already fucked up. In court, I suck.
Yep.
But how would you know that if you don't study their words? That's what I'm saying. Like right here, I got another book right here. I'm going to show you. This is Criminal Code and Justice. And look at what it says about driving. Motor vehicle means any vehicle, machine, tractor, trailer, or semi, or any combination thereof propelled, driven, or by mechanical power. Listen to this. This is where it comes. And used upon public highways in transportation of bulk commodities in interstate commerce. Now, what I'm saying is if you have that and you're going to court to fight it and you know how to stand on your square 10 toes down,
well,
how can they beef with that?
This is the argument that I hear. I'm sorry, please. This is the argument that I hear them say. Well, the Constitution also gives rights to the states, and the states can make their own shit, and their definition of driver disagrees from the one you said. Any motherfucker that's on the road is what they call a driver in the state. You're in our state. You follow our rules. That's their argument.
Okay, whose state is it?
Right,
all
and
of
that's
them use
actually
the
in the
same
statutes.
fucking argument.
Hold on, one at a time, please. There's a bunch of definitions.
I just want to say you got to look at the statutes. In the statutes, they have the definition sections at the beginning of the motor vehicle highway statutes, and it will give you a different definition than what you just said. Yes, like you said, driving. Traveling is for passengers. If you're in the passenger seat, you're a traveler.
No,
I am God. If you could kill your image, because you were jerking a little bit, killing your image to draw a little bandwidth, we should be able to hear you better.
Well, you got to remember that all these statutes, okay, they're not laws; they're just code. Okay, so if you understand the difference between law and code, you can easily, there's ways you can There's so many.
I'm working on it. I understand you.
Hold on.
So when you look at laws, you're looking at laws. There's only one law. Okay, the only one law is do no harm. All laws are based upon that. So the only reason why you break the law is because someone got hurt. That's what needs to be. So if let's say you have a contract with someone, well then now there's harm because let's say you promised to do something, you weren't there that day, now it caused some financial ruin, whatever. That's how you can prove, right? So that's the thing is when you go to court, you know, they're trying to say, oh well, the motor vehicle act, all this stuff, blah blah blah. It's like, well, the question you ask them is like, well, what evidence of fact do you have to back your claim that your constitution that you're quoting from applies to me? And that's how you fight that. See, you ask the right questions. You just got to ask them essentially. Is like when you're in court, you ask them those questions. Say, hey, well, look, man, did I trespass against a man, or does anyone have a verified claim that I've actually trespassed against another man or woman? No, okay. Who here claims that I'm their property? No one. Okay. Can you administrate property without right? No. And then, do I have a contract with anybody here? See, these are questions you ask. They can't answer any of that. Well,
I got a lot of friends, and I got dang, video ain't up yet. I'm working on it now of another one who tried that, and I got some doing time, and they asked those exact questions. Well, maybe not the proper way that they should have done, but they asked under what jurisdiction this can't proceed under until you tell them what jurisdiction, Your Honor. What they asked, all of that stuff, and they got burned. One of them got 20 years, and the other one got dumped on his head, got his head busted over a traffic ticket because, you know, they didn't like what was coming out of his mouth, in my opinion.
Well, see, the thing is, it's not that what they're doing is wrong. Is that, see, they just went across judges that don't understand the law. And that's the problem, is that most of these people, see, if you ask a judge or a cop what their signs and symbols mean, they won't know. And see, they actually stand under those signs and symbols all the time. So this is how you get them, like, in this honor right away. You just ask them, well, see, do you have signs and symbols there? What do they mean? What do they represent? Well, if they can't answer that, I say, well, the law is expressed symbolically. Do you not agree, Judge? And now you're telling me that you don't understand what your signs and symbols mean. That means you don't know the law.
But you have to realize that there's one particular judge. I was trying to find him, and I can't remember his name, but he won't even let anybody that he perceives as a sovereign citizen say one word beyond what he thinks he should say.
I know which judge you're talking about.
What's his name? What's his name?
It's the black judge there. He's I know. I can't remember, but
it's him. It's him, and there's a white judge, and they're like, you know, everything you're saying is mumbo jumbo. Sovereign citizen. This is the law. This is my court. This is how things are going to go. And if you say one more word about signs and symbols, I'm going to hold you in contempt. You know, that's how he does.
Because the problem what they're doing is that, see, you don't want to make statements in court. You just ask questions. That's it. Anytime they give you something, ask a question. You're not required to answer. When you're in court, when you're there, you're actually.
You say, wait, you kind of are. Okay, this is where this is going to go. First of all, wait. You are, because they're going to tell you, motherfucker, if you give me one more question, anything other than yes or no, I'm going to hold you in contempt and give you 30 days until you rethink it. So, so you do it. According to you, you're going to do it. You got to get burned in a little pain to go through this thing. Now I have to go through appeal, and I can't hire a lawyer. I got to do it myself. I have to read a bunch more books and go through appeal, and then that judge might be an asshole, and I might have to take it. This looks like what his fucking goals.
Well, see what you might. And the thing was, we need to do is see, like you said it right. You nailed it right.
Somebody else could attend.
He's alone. If you're not, if like, see, Brian earlier was talking about like getting together, all of us to like work.
I dig it. I see where you're going.
If we do that now, like say, like look what happened.
Good point too.
With delete Lawz. Look what happened. All the pressure that Chile was able to get on the outside because he had a following giving him support. Now, okay, great. So see, now if you have that kind of support, people giving, you know, speaking out for you, going to news outlets, reaching out, sending nasty emails to these people, saying, hey, like, what are you doing? That's how you're going to get this.
All right, Jets. That means we got to break. If we got to get a bunch of people behind us, there's no chance we get them all to read all this shit. We have to break it down where it's consumable and packageable and easily understood. That's a tall task. But you are right. If you get the people behind you and they be like, yes, we see the wrong, then we can change shit. But how can we get you having trouble getting me? I'm a bright guy. And I've been doing this shit for years now, and I'm still feel like an infant.
But all due respect, Joe, you haven't read, like you admitted, like you're, and I'm not saying you're not bright. Yes, you are, and I've seen your work.
Listen,
but
I read it.
Like you
I read it with my old mind. I read it with my old mind. Since I thought like this, I realized, Joe, you ain't reread none of that shit.
Okay, but I wanted to tell you, like, one thing when you're going to an American court, one of the first things you would do, I want to ask a question. Like, there's a way to ask, like, are you going to obey your oath to the Constitution? Like, that's one thing you have to already, because your constitutional rights, that, and you have a First Amendment freedom of speech that you can ask. There's a whole bunch of stuff to go through it. I'm not the greatest teacher, but
No,
and
no, I know, I agree with you too. I got friends I talk about this a lot.
And I wanted to say, my friend from Canada there, where he was talking about laws and statutes. This is something good for everybody to write down. Self v. Ray, and it says the common law is the real law, the supreme law of the land. That the codes, rules, regulations, policies, and statutes are not law.
That's
and then
dope.
You also have Rodriguez versus Ray Donovan, which states man is independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. So my man that was talking about nature. Then it says he is not bound by any institution formed by his fellow man. Why can't we be formed by a fellow man? Because all men are created equal. So how can I tell you what to do and what you can't tell me what to do? And here I'm at the end. It says without his consent. So these are things like
Say them again. The first one was Ray, somebody versus Ray.
Okay.
Self
The
v.
first
Ray.
one was Self v. Ray.
Yeah, I got you. What else?
And do you want the numbers to that or
I can find it, right?
Okay, and then the
R-E-R-A-Y.
next one is Rodriguez versus Ray Donovan. Rodriguez v. Ray Donovan. And that was the U.S. Department of Labor. And that was talking where every man is independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. He is not bound by any institution formed by his fellow man without his consent.
Good shit,
And
bro.
then-
Good shit.
And then hold up, there's one more that's really good.
Okay.
It's a U.S. Supreme Court. Hold on. Oh my God.
This is like
I think it's
Who
the
is
same one.
this, Brian? Who is this?
This is Jester Man's channel. Jester Man, this is the right
Okay.
channel. This is the right channel, correct?
Yes, yes.
It doesn't say. I couldn't find the Crown channel. Is
Sorry,
this?
well, it's because that's my actual original channel. Down with the Crown is my newer channel, but I'm not ready with that. So, like, if
Okay.
you want to use that one, that's the best one because I have all my materials there.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I had it right.
Thanks.
Hey guys, I got to bug out of here. Well, I got to get
Right.
going.
I
But
just wanted to add one
Yeah.
thing before we leave, but go ahead. I am God. Go ahead, sir.
go ahead.
I wanted to say.
I was just saying bye.
I wanted to say peace to everybody on here. I'm glad to meet you. Brian, I followed you for a minute. I always throw comments in there. Yo, Joe, my man, I love you guys, man. Peace, love. God bless you. I'm gonna talk to you guys in the channel. I always do talk to you guys, always respond once in a while. Peace, love. Please drop me from the screen.
Good to meet you guys.
And I'm out real quick too. Joe, learn how to change your name. Nice to meet everybody.
God
bless.
damn
Thanks
it!
for having me up,
God
Brian.
damn it!
Nice to
Good
meet you,
Lord.
El Perro, El Perro, before you go, the things that Jester Man was saying and that you're saying are the things that you guys disagree on, because it seems like you guys are saying the same thing. Is it the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
Like,
I think it's understanding the basic concept is everything starts with a contract, but it's enveloped by a trust. You have to understand that system and be able to work that same kind of way, not under their contract, umbrellaed by their trust as a public official or agent, but rather as a private man, mimicking that same system to protect yourself.
I'm getting out to. I always say this, Brian. You've been a big part of my life. I thank you much. I love you all. And I if a mod would post all of their shit in there, I can go in there now and sub all their channels. I'll be around, and I got some places I'd love to invite you guys.
All right, sounds good. Thank you guys for joining, and I am going to try to put all these links under this video when it gets done rendering. But let's stay together on this, and let's try to learn and get through this life the best we can.
absolutely. I put Gemstone University. That's definitely, if anybody that wants to really understand the history and trust law and all that stuff, Gemstone University, Kenneth Cousins, this guy, I'm telling you, he's like, because he's got it structured 30 years of research of the law on a symbolic level, the words, the terminologies, all these things. I'm telling you, Gemstone University, check it out on YouTube. I put the link. I'll put it again if you want. It goes into the whole history, man. You can listen. It's like maybe, I don't know, like 20 hours of listening. I'm telling you, you're going to be an expert at it. Listening to it like 3-4 times, you're going to be like, oh my God, it's amazing. So,
all right, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you. I am God. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me, man. Good to see you.
Take care. Bye.
Take it easy. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me on, Brian. Appreciate
No problem,
you, man.
Thank you.
You're a good guy, man.
Hey, you too. I'm looking forward to watching your stuff.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate. I'm up here in Canada trying to get some people, and it's frustrating because we're the Ottawa, where it's the convoy city.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone came out, and all of a sudden now no one's around to back these people up that are still actually fighting in court right now, which is it's sad. So anyways, I know you got to go, Brian, but thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you so much. All the best.
Tell Mom I said hi.
Thanks, buddy.
See you later.
Ciao.